Last time, on Asmiliath adventures, our heroes arrive at the long-neglected HQ of the Chevaliers of Corsair. Valoran, the last remaining member of this order, hopes to delve into the underground facility to find more knowledge or information on Shevlin and the Grove. Barring that, he longs for an answer or a sign regarding the corrupted eye his father had left him. First approaching the mural that Thor and Valoran had discovered before Braun's funeral, the party get a better picture of what the Grove is supposed to look like, but get no closer to discovering its location. Leaving the piece of art behind, our group descend down to the main structure of the HQ, and are met with a mysterious noise. After a brief investigation, our heroes discover a frail and ancient man huddled in the corner of one of the rooms, his body and his amulet giving off celestial energy. Conversing with the worn creature, the party discover that he is Commander D'Avance, the last commander of the Knights of the West before they were disbanded entirely. Learning that he has been kept alive by a messenger until his task is complete, the old commander guides the Golden Hearts to a secret door in the main hall. Pressing Valoran's charm to the wall, Valoran opens a long hidden chamber, being met with a large fountain that requires the touch of a truly charismatic individual. Progressing forward, the ancient machinery drives a ritual, as 3 more fountains demand 3 more truly gifted heroes. Finally opening up the center chamber, it's made clear to the party that another person is needed to fully access the secrets that have been locked away. Calling down Danica, walking her through what must be done, the Golden Hearts suddenly find themselves teleported from their plane and into the Void Realm. Getting the first glimpse of the limbo state between life and death, our party, I cannot speak today, spot the yellow willow tree of the Grove and a sprawling maze of buildings surrounding it. Determined to reach their destination, they trudge through the unfamiliar land with Danica in tow. Slaying corrupted souls and ancient warriors, Valoran suddenly finds himself face to face with the trapped soul of his father. Explaining to his son that he had tried to reach the Grove himself, Valoran learns that Shadowfang, the monster that Shevlin the Chosen slayed during the Great Entrance, waits in the chamber ahead. Apologizing for his failures as a father and a lord, Garmon asks his son to recover his charm and return it to Isabel, and to see the quest he had failed to completion. Moving into the chamber ahead, our heroes face down the great beast and rip the powerful jewel from its chest. It is now some untraceable point in time and space. The glowing crystals around the room flicker and fade as Shadowfang lets out his last breath. As our heroes collect themselves and feel the taste of victory upon their tongues, Danica places a hand on Valoran to get his attention. Valoran, during the fight with Shadowfang, you had most recently been kicked and shoved against the wall. You're now landing kind of on the fringe of this skeletal collection beside you where Danica had hidden for the majority of the combat. She kind of crawls ever so slightly forward, grabbing your shoulder as you still lay, giving you a little shake, and her eyes meet you before she kind of like very gently whispers, Valoran, you want to... And then she gestures her head a little bit to the left, and where she had been hiding, only a few feet away, you would see the familiar crest of the Athelvanes emblazoned on a cloth chess piece. And you would very easily be able to recognize the skeletal remains of your father and where he had been stopped in his progress.
So, laying on the floor, I sort of craned my head to see, to watch Thor and Decker finish off the werewolf. And just from this like push-up position, sort of going, yes! And then she touches my shoulder, and I look over. And what? It's been 2 years, I guess. What he's.
So the remains that you can like see appear to be what you describe as like clean picked bones. There's no flesh or skin or any sort of evidence of a human being. It is simply just a skeleton and the clothes he wore. You would notice that there isn't ordinary wear on his clothing. It's not like the cloth is faded or ripped or torn, or that, you know, his sword or his shield are damaged. It just looks like his skin and flesh been sucked away, leaving the skeletal remains. You'll notice that the charm that you have a copy of kind of rests on his chest, where like the ribs still hold up the cloth. Just like a cursory glance at it as you focus in, you would notice that the pearl that rests inside the hand of each charm is cracked versus a non-cracked version that you have for yourself.
So, I crawl over on my hands and knees and just start out by like really investigating the area. Before I move around, start moving stuff around a lot.
Okay, give me a investigation check. Cannot speak. Thor and Decker, you both stand kind of in that flat spot where you entered. Thor, you are currently still holding a chunk of Shadowfang in your hand, coming down off of your primal rage, as Decker, watching the gem fly, is now, the gem itself is about 5 or 10 feet away from you, laying on the ground. A lot of the blood of the beast still seeping out of the various holes that have been cut inside of it, but that's off to your right. And then Clay, up on the highest platform where you have vanquished many souls that had given you quite a difficult time, would be kind of looking down on the scene as Thor is returning to somewhat normal, Valoran's crawling on the floor with Danica, and you are just left watching from above.
I'm gonna keep lookout and actually like to take a quick scope of the surroundings. You said the light and the crystals were all fading?
Give me a perception check. Valoran, is there anything specific you are looking for, sir?
Just to see anything that I think he brought with him here, other than the charm. Like if he had a satchel of some kind, or the weapon that he brought.
From the quick time you have to look, and also feeling almost a bit of reverence touching this body, you would only notice that he has sword in one hand, shield in the other, charm on his chest, and there is the chainmail of his armor that he wears, and then like the gambeson kind of beneath it. But that's about it. There's nothing, no pouch or backpack or like belt container. He seems rather lightly dressed.
Armor even? Like he
He had chainmail and then the gambeson padding. Kind of the standard armor you would have seen him dress in whenever he needed to deal with something that required it.
So I still on my knees on the ground here. I look up at whoever, just meeting eyes with whoever is paying attention, and I have very obviously like tears welling up in my eyes, but just sort of keeping a stiff lip and say, "Help me, I don't want to leave anything here."
Hearing that, I'll step over and do whatever you need.
So I'm primarily concerned with his body, and given that it's down to just bones, like almost I take the bedroll off my backpack and lay it out.
I'm going to pause you there, sir. Real quick. We're going to hop back over to Clay. Clay, as you are watching Decker step over and you're seeing Valoran kind of beginning to take out some equipment, you're glancing around the room and getting a much better view this time versus the quick glance you got before Shadowfang kind of descended upon you. You can see off to the north, on the same level of height that you were at, but across the chamber, there is another pair of stone, it's that weird matter that is kind of nameless to you, but there's 2 doors over on the other side, and in the middle, there is a large, rough cutout that, putting the pieces together, you can quickly assume the piece of the chest that has been ripped from Shadowfang would pretty neatly rest inside of that depression. But as you're glancing around, and kind of removed from all the noise being caused by Valoran and Danica down by this like pile of bones, you hear this distant like shh. You hear this like raining, distant metal noise and then nothing. And you're kind of glancing, waiting, kind of leaning into your ear, getting almost like where you can start to hear silence for a moment. And there's this sudden, and you look up into the corner of the chamber, and there is a large piece of the room now missing as this giant chain comes just slamming through into the chamber, disturbing some of that glittering, swirling mass in the middle, sending it kind of spraying up in. And as you are glancing through the hole that has been formed, kind of looking around the edge of this massive chain, you're staring directly into the hovering yellow eye. And you can see that its gaze is perfectly fixated on you, and you get this quick moment of like frozen terror before when another chain goes shooting through, kind of crossing with the other one, landing into the ground, sending a bunch of debris and stone flying, and then the sound of 1,000 chains, like a massive hailstorm, begins pounding the walls, the ceiling, every crack in this room, trying to get inside. And of course, the rest of the party would be hearing this, but Clay, you'd be the first to realize what is going on.
Hurry it up! We don't have time!
I would hurry over and grab the chest crystal, just because that's what I wanted from his body. Question: how big are his teeth?
Maybe like the size of your hand?
Okay, yeah, I'd like to crack a couple of those out with my pickaxe.
Give me a athletics with disadvantage.
Yes, indeed.
Valorant and Decker, what are you doing currently now that the room is being bombarded?
I'm gonna, I'll take everything I can of his father and just start to roll it up.
Yeah, I'm trying to gather him up, primarily concerned with his actual remains, and his charm, his spellcasting focus. But if there are objects that I have to leave, then that's fine.
Okay.
If it makes it faster.
Decker, go ahead and give me a dexterity saving throw, and Clay, you as well.
Add 5, Decker.
13? No, 14.
Decker, as you are standing over the corpse, or maybe knelt down beside it, begin to kind of like hurrying, collect bones, scooping it into like the clothing that was wrapped around it. You don't get hit by a chain itself, but one of the stones or a bit of the wall that's been dislodged by the impact comes flying from the side, kind of strikes your cheek. You take 3 points of damage as your like vision's kind of sent blurry for a moment, and you continue to kind of hurriedly work. Clay, as you are standing up on the cliff face above, a chain goes shooting through the ceiling, and you can see that it's about to impact the cliff down beneath you. Taking a step back, it makes the impact, causing the cliff to kind of shift a little bit, as where you once stood is now pushed down into the ground below. So we'll just kind of roughly say that Valorant and Decker and Danik would be assisting, are just kind of huddling as much of the remains as they can, potentially even getting the remains of some of the others in the pile, as it doesn't really matter, just scooping it up. Thor, you are grabbing the gem. What I'm gonna say is, if you're grabbing the gem, it's like a big gem. It's like 3-4 feet across, and it's pretty heavy. So it'd be difficult to have that, get your pickaxe, get a tooth, and all like this small time frame. If that makes sense?
I wanted to just like crack a tooth off and keep it, put my pickaxe up, and then carry the gem.
Okay, if you try and do both, I'm gonna make you do a dex save.
Okay, that's fine. Do I have advantage?
I'm gonna go with no, because you're concentrated on something else. Because you're not looking at it. Okay. So as you race forward, holding your pickaxe, or I guess retrieving your pickaxe after your primal display, as you are running, you just kind of like swing, and you chip about like half of the tooth off, breaking it genuinely in two, collecting that piece, storing your pickaxe, racing over to the gem, picking that up. The surface of it is slick with blood. It is like seeping whatever blood would have been like pushed into the gem as you wrenched it out. So it's like covering your skin in this like thick maroon liquid as you are like collecting it.
And I guess I'll be over here now, and I'll just kind of look over to Valorant and Decker and just say, "We got to go. We got to go now." And I will start trying to climb up this.
Okay, give me athletics.
There's a door over there.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna hold on. I'm gonna rage because I don't want to have disadvantage on this. So it's just a straight roll.
Okay. So, Valorant and Decker carrying or attempting to carry the majority of a body's remains is going to be rather difficult to do while climbing. So unless you have a plan, I'm probably going to give you some penalties for that. Unless you're like just trying to stuff what you can in like a backpack or something of the sort.
I still take my bedroll down and I'll roll him up in it, or as much of him as I can in it, so that he's packaged in the bedroll.
Still quite cumbersome is what I'm trying to get at.
I have to try.
Okay. Are you attempting to carry it by yourself and climb? Like, what I'm trying to get at is you need use of your hands, and now you have a human-sized bundle of armor and bones. How does that work?
If they were helping me, then maybe we can divide him up 3 ways.
Okay.
Yeah, how tall is the thing that we're trying to climb?
So it's about 35 feet climbing up the vertical wall just in front of you. So that's like one of the highest you would climb.
Yeah, so with 4 people, we could just kind of daisy chain it and everyone climb up and then pass up from the bottom to the top.
Okay. I think that's fitting. Clay, what are you doing currently?
Clay's going to heal himself real quick before he dies from falling damage, and then try and jump over to here.
Okay.
Rules is written, I don't think I can make the jump, but if I can at least get part way...
What I will say is that
wall.
Platform to the northeast is lower, so it would be easy to jump from your higher position to that lower position and then climb versus trying to make that jump straight.
So go here instead
over
of
here. Okay.
here.
Yeah, then that's a good option.
Okay, give me a general athletics.
And is that like water, or is it like a void?
That's that weird sludgy liquid, that kind of glittering metallic stuff you saw outside.
Gotcha.
That is not good, sir. Do you have anything for that?
I could swear a little bit. I mean, that might...
Don't you miss being
won't
lucky?
change anything. Oh. Did it
You got another character ready?
Hey, I
Go
just
ahead.
healed for this exact reason.
That was a very, very optimal thing to do there, sir. Give me one moment. So, Thor, you can get up not incredibly quickly, but you aren't going to suffer any ill effects because you rolled
Can I
the
dash? Because then that's like...
Yeah, I mean, you're getting up here with that 10. Like, I'm not like
gotcha.
punishing you at all. Valorant and Decker, and I'm gonna roll Danica an athletics check. The plan is to kind of like stagger your height and then start passing the remains up and then getting all up there. So go ahead and roll me athletics.
Can I do it like with flair and have acrobatics instead?
I'm gonna make it athletics. It's like a physical strength thing that you're kind of doing currently.
Fine. I'll just go with athletics then.
All right. Complain all you want, sir. Okay. All right. Play. As you go to make the jump, you feel your foot snag on the skeletal remains that you are running over, and as you do, you start to tumble, and you quickly try and reach out and grab and try and slow your descent, but you find yourself spilling fast and quick into that sludge, landing in it flat on your belly. I'm gonna put you... one moment. Right there, sir. You land, and as soon as you land into this liquid, it is like landing in wet cement, is the feeling that you get. as your chest hits and your skin begins to meet, it feels insanely cold, almost like you've stuck your hand in liquid nitrogen, and then as soon as that cold intensifies, it feels like it is burning. And as you begin to kind of try and like push yourself up or find your feet, you take 17 points of psychic damage, and you find yourself sunk about neck deep in this thick, painful liquid, and your speed is now halved. Are you up?
Don't tell me you're unconscious, bro.
No. I'm not quite unconscious. Okay.
Okay, would I see this? Am I
Yes,
getting
you are
up
able
to the
to
top
see
at the
this.
same time?
Yeah.
Clay would scream, I think. That would be a fair
Okay.
enough. If that burning sensation hits. You gotta
So,
scream.
I've never tested this, but Clay's a pretty small person, right?
Yes.
Could I theoretically throw my pickaxe near him, have him grab on, and call it back to me?
You can try. I know that you like to say that you experiment with things, like
I
between
do.
sessions and whatnot.
Yeah.
I will give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you have tried to retrieve items with it, and it doesn't work.
Okay.
If there's something attached to it, it does
doesn't
not
come
come
back.
back. Yeah.
Okay.
I was
Gotcha.
gonna say I weigh 65 pounds, so I don't know if that would.
But quickly we'll hop over to Valorant and Decker. As you make this kind of step ladder, we'll go ahead and say Danica's at the top, kind of like shoveling all the remains in. None of you struggle to, let me double check. None of you struggle to get to your position and kind of maneuver it up. It is taking time, and as you are transferring the remains, you hear the scream of Decker kind of rounding the canyon to your east as Thor stares down at him, but still shuffling it up as fast as you can down. You kind of pass the last of the remains just as Thor is kind of like trying to analyze the situation. And Thor, give me a dex save with advantage.
And add 5.
Would it just be like a straight roll? Wait. It's ability checks. Is it? I don't know which one to hold.
Oh,
Yes,
because you have
your
it's a
saves are still
save.
fine.
Yeah.
It's just okay.
Yeah.
So with advantage.
Okay. As you are stood there staring down at Clay, who is now neck deep in this mysterious liquid, a chain, again, would shoot through the ceiling, this giant thud of metal, and as it does, a few of the stray stones kind of like land down at your feet. You step back enough for one of the boulders to just land down beside you, tumbling into the liquid below. The structural integrity of this room is quickly deteriorating, the roof looking more like Swiss cheese than any sort of shelter, as about 10 or so chains have now plowed themselves into this room and are making traversal even more difficult as it begins like crisscrossing and making this like net or web of metal chain.
Okay. So I guess I would just yell at Clay, kind of like, I don't know, trying to motivate, like, get your ass in gear basically, and just be like, come on, Clay, we got to go. And like, I'll just turn around and try to make this jump.
Clay, what's your speed?
You said I'm currently halved.
Yeah.
I believe that would be 12 feet
And then 24 if dashing?
if dashing. Well,
Oh.
I mean, it depends on if I'm halved and I dash. Can I do my full walking speed, or do I have to do that round down?
Round
Is that
down.
25 forward? Okay, yeah, then 24 with dash.
Can he try to climb this thing, or is it unclimbable?
You could.
I
Or
don't
you could
have
walk
place.
up this thing.
I don't think I can live that long in this liquid-ish thing. So yeah, try and scramble up.
Give me athletics.
Okay.
With the remains now up and the trio that had kind of conveyor belted it now to the top, Danica, Valoran, and Decker, what are you all doing?
So we're up on top now?
Yes.
Yeah. I assume that we've seen Clay.
Yeah, you heard him, and then you saw Thor abandon him, and now you're looking at him.
I am gonna drop anything that
Thor, give
that's
me. Oh my
burning.
god, Thor, give me athletics. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I was gonna forego around and watch him climb, like
Okay,
around
so you're waiting
my.
to see what happens before you move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would drop what I'm carrying and then just sprint and leap across.
To the northeast.
Yeah.
Okay,
There.
give me athletics. To the east. Okay, gotcha. Clay, took 11 points of damage. Are you still up? All right. The party is watching as Clay begins to like drag himself through this thick liquid, and he gets one hand up on the rock, and you see his first little like tiny body attempt to drag, and he gets to about his waist before all of a sudden you see the light leave his eyes. You see his hand slip from his grip, and he just flops back like a sack into the liquid. It's like slowly beginning to encroach and like grab around his frame before trying to swallow him whole.
I hate you, Seth. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw my pickaxe into.
Oh, wait a minute. Did I make the jump?
Yes.
Can I run down and try and get him?
I mean, he's 35 feet down in the liquid. It would be very difficult to climb down that cliff, grab him from the liquid, and get him up. It'd be a very high DC is what I'm saying, if you do want to attempt that. And you would run the risk of joining him.
Well, if he goes down to that second level, it's only 15 feet, right?
Yes, but he still has to get down to your level and then lift you out of the liquid. I mean, I'm not telling you what's wrong and what's right. I'm just trying to explain what you'd be facing.
If you have to sacrifice me, it's okay.
We are not doing another commission for you.
Yeah,
you are going to live.
Let's do it.
I've got something.
Okay.
I guess I'll hold
So-
my action.
Setting, like, just kind of taking a knee where I'm at, digging into my backpack and fishing out my rope and a grappling hook. And I secure one end of the rope to the grappling hook, quick as I can, quick like a bunny, and then try to. Where Thor? Are you where you are, or are you in the middle?
Yeah, I'm on the same level right now. But
All right, I am gonna hand it to you and say this should help.
Give me a dex check. Check. So that's with disadvantage. Nice. Valorant, as you dig into your bag real quick, grabbing your rope, grabbing the grappling hook, quickly getting it tied off, handing it to Thor. Thor kind of like shifts the gem to one, like in the crook of his arm, and you see his hands covered in blood. Grabbing the rope, twirling it around his hand or his head a few times, letting it fly, doesn't account for the fact that his hands are slippery, and you see the rope just fly off with the hook as he throws it.
So there's 50 feet of it. Is there an end of it left here that I can grab?
Odds or evens?
Even.
Give me a dex save real quick. Alrighty. Your aim, by the way, Thor, way off. So, Decker, you were watching as Thor throws it. The hook goes sailing over Clay, landing about like 5 or 10 feet past him into the liquid. You now see Valorant kind of diving over Thor's figure, grabbing the last of the rope as he catches the last of this 50 feet before it tumbles off. And you are now looking down at Clay, almost fully consumed, as you fail a death save, by the way, there, Clay.
My rapier, can it reach him?
It's the floor to Clay is 15 feet. So it would be difficult for you to like get.
Can I? Okay, so if I climb down the wall, but stay like on the wall, can I reach him with my rapier?
Yes, or you can reach him with your hand if you're climbing all the way down there.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Because he was trying to climb the cliff before he fell back.
Yeah, I'm gonna rock climb down and then try to just secure him with my hand.
Okay, give me acrobatics and athletics. Are you trying to secure him or like pull him up?
Secure him for now.
Okay.
It was acrobatics and athletics.
All right. As you slide down the cliff face enough that you are now kind of holding on with one hand, reaching out with the other, you are able to grab the tuft of Clay's beard just enough to get a handhold on him, and you start dragging him up, but you find yourself in the weird position where you're trying to bring in the groceries and you don't have enough hands, where you need to open the door, but you can't move, and you're just kind of holding him about an inch above the liquid as it's kind of like seeping off of him back into the river below.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to do is keep his head out of it, keep him from going away, and I'm just waiting for somebody to help us now.
Okay. So, Valorant, you have the end of the rope with the rope and the hook, like, drawing a straight line across Clay, like, several feet past him. It's kind of draped across his chest right now.
So I just want to stop it. If it's going to drop where they are, then that's fine. I'll let it fall, and when the rope lands on Clay and Decker, I'm sure will have a brilliant idea.
Well, okay, I'll do this real quick, because I don't think I'm making it quite clear. Rope, end of the grappling hook.
Yeah.
Okay, just so that's everyone understands.
So that's how it is right now.
It's kind of draped across you. Yeah.
Yeah, so is the rope across his body?
Yes, but the hook is like down in the liquid.
All right, I'd yell at him to start pulling the hook back slowly, and like the idea being as the hook comes within my reach to hook it onto like his clothing or like wrap it around his arms or not his neck, but
to secure it to him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Valorant, you are holding the rope right now. Give me a dexterity saving throw. Give me a constitution check, or constitution save. Okay. Valorant, as you're holding the rope and you hear Decker call out, you hear a bit of the ceiling crumble. And as you look up, you can't react in time, or there isn't enough space to move, before you see a big slab of this strange matter land down next to you, and it lands directly on your foot, kind of dragging you a little bit as it starts sliding down the cliff. It, like, bloodies the end of your toes, kind of smashing a few of them in your boot. As you feel this rush of pain, you take 5 points of damage, and you hold onto the rope for dear life, because there is life on the line, quite literally.
Yeah, I'm just hanging onto the rope.
Eventually be secured.
Starting to pull it back slowly, like Decker said. I kind of look over my shoulder at Thor and say, help me with this. And then grit my teeth at the eye in the sky and just sort of muttered, damn you.
I will put forth the point that if you pull Clay and Decker releases him, he'll be going back into the liquid.
Yeah, no, I got an idea. So I can do this in or out of character, but the idea is get the hook into him and then climb back up, and then we can try and pull him out with the hook.
I don't know if I'm fully understanding.
Okay. Rope here.
Mm-hmm.
The grappling hook, we secure it.
Yep,
to
wrapped
him.
around him. Yep.
I take the rope, I climb back up here, and then me and whoever else can join me over here, we can haul the rope and the body out onto the platform here.
So you're wanting them to come around and help you, because right now the only thing holding Clay out of the water, or out of the liquid, is you holding him, and you cannot climb while holding him.
I get that. That's why I need somebody else over here.
Gotcha. I get you now.
Okay. So then I guess seeing that Valorant has the rope, I would then use that turn that I had been kind of just saving, waiting to see what they would do. And I will try to make this jump
Okay.
right here.
Give me athletics. Everyone dies to the mysterious liquid. That's the game we're about to run. Sweet. I'm going to go ahead and give you... oh. You are exhausted.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
but you're
I'm
raging.
raging.
Gotcha. I'm going to go ahead and say that you succeed all athletic checks from here on out until we leave this room.
Okay.
All right.
And what do I count this as far as like movement?
Just regular movement.
Okay, so 5, 10, 15, whoa. 20, 25. Can I like jump down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
Technically,
I'm more down here at this point.
Yeah.
And then I'll just kind of angrily just say, "Pass the rope."
So he starts throwing some rope slack up to you?
Yeah, and
All
I'll
right.
just like yank him up.
Okay. I think you can pretty easily yank Clay up. I don't think Decker would require a check for you to get up from your position. Valor,
I
you'd
would've.
be
Yeah.
Valor, you'd be holding the other end of the rope as you see them using the last bit of it to bring him up. You are left back here with your father's remains and Danica. Thor, I'm gonna still say that you probably just have the gem like in the crook of your arm as you're doing all this one-handed.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at currently. Clay, you're still
All right.
unconscious. Give me a death save.
They can do more good. They can do more good with the rope than I can at this point. So I let my end go, and they can have all of it. And I am going to go back to gathering up my crap, so that I can get out of here.
Okay. All right, Thor, Decker, and Clay, what are you doing currently?
Well, I'm adding Clay to my inventory basically,
So just
and
Do you have any healing spells that you can cast on him?
nope.
do you want to attempt to stabilize him before he dies?
I can try, or
Who
I
has
mean,
the best medicine?
not me. I can tell you that.
I got a +2.
Okay,
I have a -1.
We'll give Decker advantage. Give me a medicine check with advantage. Alrighty. Pulling Clay out, there isn't any physical damage that is easy to spot or process besides the wounds he sustained while in combat. It appears that this, whatever is dragging him down, whatever is making his body limp, is not something you can just physically treat. But taking a moment to just kind of like smack his face a little bit, kind of give him like a little shake, you see him taking like a really weak, ragged breath, just enough to like make sure there is life still in his body as you toss him over your shoulder and keep going.
I might just add him to my arm of things. I'll just drape him over the gem.
Gem in one, Clay over the other, and then with Danica, I would imagine you two could grab the majority of the remains, however you have that bundled up, and then you're gonna make that jump.
Seems like it.
All right, give me athletics there, sir.
Where's the doorway that we're trying to get to?
Up in the north, far north.
I'm gonna help her across first. I'm not sure if I can give her like a push when she goes to jump.
Okay. Here. Okay. Yeah, she can easily make the jump.
All right.
So she would go ahead and do that with whatever remains you either want to send with her or toss over after the fact.
Yeah, I'll give him a old heave ho over,
Okay.
and then I will jump over.
All right. Decker, give me a dexterity save. Sweet. All right. And then Valor, give me that athletics check.
Question.
Yes.
Is this up here? Is this like land, or
Yeah,
is
that's
this...
the lowest point.
Okay. So then I'm probably gonna
Valor, you make it.
give Decker the rope and then just say, I'll meet you over there, and I'll run this way because I have two hands full, so I can't climb, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll jump over here if I can.
Yep, that'd be pretty easy.
And then wait for him to get over on top with the rope.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I'll run and jump across here too.
Or do you want to... Okay.
Well, I figure it'd be safer to jump low ground to low ground and then climb up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead, give me athletics for the climb. Alright, you can manage to climb up. It'll take you a little bit, but that's fine. Thor, give me a dex save with advantage. And then you're going to use the rope to have him, like, bring Clay up?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so Decker, as you are dragging the lifeless body, or the very low life body of Clay up with the grappling hook, giving Thor at least one arm to start throwing himself up the cliff, you all find yourself eventually on the top platform.
What was he thinking?
Doesn't matter, let's go! And I'll just push through the doors.
So, the doors are open.
Yeah, I'll shove the gem in there.
Yeah, your hand's still slick with blood. You start, like, slippery butterfingering the gem before you eventually set it in. And as you set it in, the entire ceiling behind you, there's this low rumbling, growing louder and louder. And as you all kind of look back, Thor finally fitting the gem in, the entire ceiling begins to crunch and crackle and cave in on itself. As the doors start to open ever so slightly, you all just start barreling through it. I'm imagining... Decker, do you have Clay at this point?
Yeah, I would be.
He would.
Okay. As you all go slamming through these doors out of the room, as there's this horrendous crash behind you, you step out into the void, that strange material on the floor that you're not quite familiar with. In front of you is this large, glowing, transparent dome that comes off the top of this massive yellow willow tree and then drapes down to the ground. The ground that you had initially seen when you were teleported in here is now lit with this strange yellow hue as you realize the eye is illuminating the space around you as it is focused in on your party. And as you're standing there, you start to see spirits raising from the ground. There's maybe perhaps like 20 or 30 feet between where you're at and the edge of the dome in front of you. But the space that is left untouched between that, spirits just continue, one after the other. 10, then 20 begin to slowly crawl out of the ground, being illuminated by the yellow light of the eye.
So I'm assuming the tree looks a lot safer than outside of it.
Yes, from what you see through the dome, the inside of that space appears to be this lush, green, very familiar, almost earth-like appearance. The tree itself, kind of the yellow leaves that drape down from the willow tree, kind of obscure the base of the tree and the small pond that you can see through it, but the land itself, there's like life and vegetation and things that you would recognize in this otherwise strange realm.
And I'd yell out, "Danica, run for the tree! Thor, grab his arm!" And I would, like I guess like you'd take like a little kid, and like the parents carry him one arm in each hand.
Mm-hmm. With just Clay between the two.
Yeah.
Question, because I didn't want to ruin your description. Is there any way to take the gem out of the door?
Oh my god.
The door closes behind you as you are stepping, so you could try and like reach your hand through, but you might lose it. But there's Clay, and it, yeah. Well, if you really need it, we'll put it in the next campaign.
Just like gems. What's the problem? I can sell it somewhere.
So is everyone rushing forward then?
Yeah, I'll just kind of like rage, run, and basically just pick up Clay and Decker as I'm running, because I don't need Decker to help me run.
So as the scene continues to fill with these twisted appearances, and everyone goes charging forward, Danica holding a bundle of Garment's remains as Valorant holds the rest, you all go plowing through this force field, just hoping and assuming that it will accept you or you can go through. As you all step through, everyone heals for 14 points. Clay, you would return back to life as you step in, and you all find yourself in the grove.
So I don't like overkill on HP, so I don't get like 2 temporary hit points after that,
No,
right?
You do not.
Okay.
As you step through this barrier And you hear, or not hear, you feel this cleansing, healing light kind of touching you, kind of reaching into your soul. The sounds of the thousands of chains, the strange wailing of the spirits, the weird distant ambient noise of the void is gone. It just disappears like you were putting earplugs in. And in its place is this bubbling noise of water, like the trickling of a stream, and the soft sound of wind kind of shifting through tall grass. And you find yourself in this little bubble of paradise in an otherwise dark world. And getting a better look as you're now stepping through the yellow boughs, a few of the leaves kind of draping over you as you step through them. You see this old, armored man sat on a stone bench facing this tranquil pond that surrounds the base of the willow tree, the roots kind of digging deep and far down into the water. In the pool is this swirling mass of colorful fish that kind of go over one another and slip under the roots and find little nooks and crannies to hide in. There are these strange, trickling orbs of light that seem to start at the top of the tree and then drift down almost like a snowflake before hitting the ground and evaporating before another one kind of takes its place, illuminating this otherwise dim area. And as you all kind of step in, you would see the old hunched over figure kind of look over, kind of catching you all with one eye as the dome above you begins to kind of warp and twist and bubble. You see some of it kind of like shrinking ever so slightly before snapping back to try and retain its original shape. And that eye, that ever-present eye up in the sky, is still just drilling down at you. Clay, you would come to rather violently for a brief moment, assuming you're now finding yourself in heaven, because you go from the void realm to this strange scene before you realize that your companions are still around you, and you would easily recognize the last known appearance of Shevlin the Chosen sat on the bench in front of you, kind of giving you all this strange side-eye.
As I... And I'll just set him down. We're even now.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to kill the rest of you too.
We're not dead yet.
What?
I said we're not dead yet.
Well, give it a second. I'll just point to whoever that is.
I would say probably Valorant and Clay, almost said Jarek there. Wow, that was bad. Would easily recognize him. Decker perhaps would kind of have a semblance of who he is, especially due to what's going on. Thor would probably be the most out of the loop in the moment.
Wait, we made it?
Not yet.
By the stars above, is that him?
You should. Why don't you ask him?
I'll just say, are you friendly, or do we have to fight you too?
As you call out, you see him kind of shifting his eye from the entire group over to you, Thor, and he opens his mouth to speak, but he is interrupted by this resonating low, and you all kind of glance up and you see the force field above you kind of shoving in further and further before it again snaps back into place. The spot in question kind of growing a little bit more transparent and weaker in appearance as he then meets your eye. That
So
fully
getting-
depends on why you're here.
So getting the point here, I'm going to walk half the distance with this pathetic bundle under one arm, and my glaive in the other, and I ask him, How long do we have?
Kind of looks back up at the giant dome above you, kind of peering up at the eye and then over to you. Minutes, hours, it's hard to tell here.
We're trying to stop this.
Then I don't know who's in a worse position, you or I. You fancy yourself a hero?
Maybe one day.
Then you are left with a fate worse than death. There are no heroes.
Clay would shuffle up next to Valoran and... My Lord Shevlin, Protectorate of the Realm. The honor here is immense, but please, there is no need for heroism, merely the right thing. I don't want to waste this opportunity on idle hero worship here, but how do we get out of here?
You see this kind of wrinkled and worn and tired face that he wields. There is so much visible stress and age on his complexion that it's almost difficult to see the very faint smirk that kind of lifts up the corners of his lips, and he meets you. I would have the authority to send you back before he gets what he wants.
I would just kind of go to the back of Valoran and just whisper, the eye, we're here about the eye. I just remembered. P.S. Psst.
Lord Shevlin, what went wrong? What did you not know?
You see his eyes move to meet yours, and you see the color of his eyes are this mixture, a very unnatural mixture, where half of it is kind of this somewhat natural blue hue. There is the mixture of that yellow tainted corruption that you'd be oh so familiar with Torridan and Novin, and he kind of narrows his gaze at you. Stopping Torridan is meaningless. It's all a game. It's all some fascinations of the gods. It is a cycle, boy, and it cannot be broken.
No. No, that cannot be.
You can deny it, but every 360 years, every time the monster of Torridan comes, sometimes he is thrown back into the void, and his arrival is trivial. But other times, he succeeds. Do you ever wonder why we never progress, why our technology never advances beyond where we're at? Because we are reset when Torridan gets his way. And we are only allowed to live as long as we can hold him off.
Why?
That's a great question. One that I cared to stop trying to answer.
Shevlin, sir, I hate to speak out of place, but simply because the answer has not been found yet doesn't mean it does not exist. It's like a puzzle. Maybe we're the ones to solve it this cycle. Maybe we're not. But to do that, we need to be alive. I, for one, will take you on your offer to leave this place.
As you say that, another loud ripple kind of works its way across the dome that you find yourself in. And as you all kind of quickly look to make sure the structure's still intact, you would see almost an endless sea of yellow corrupted spirits surrounding this base of the dome, filling the area around the grove, just staring at you through the force field, waiting and biding their time. But he would meet eyes with you, Decker. I will send you all back before it is too late.
My Lord Shevlin, I am of the Shevlins chosen. My grandfather spoke of you much during my youth. Surely not all is hopeless. Of the great deeds you accomplished, of the order you established.
Your
Surely
diploma.
there is. Yes.
He kind of reaches a hand in, and you see him grab a bit of string hanging from his neck, and he pulls out a somewhat familiar amulet. This bronze hexagon with jewels set into each corner and a giant yellow eye encapsulated in bronze in the middle, and he holds it up to you. I have tried everything. I have dug through history. I have ascended to different planes of existence. I even formed the Hollow Keepers and the Shevlins chosen in an attempt to hold off what is coming. But it is futile. There is no stopping it. We've even separated his body parts, but they are crawling back to him, and there is no way you will prevent it. My soul is damned in this amulet, along with his. And once it is broken and he is set free, which it will occur, then my time here is done.
What if we take that with us, so he cannot break in here and take it from you?
You see, like, this kind of almost, like, frustrated flicker in his eyes before the facade of his physical being disappears, and he is replaced with this brilliantly white, radiant spirit that is completely transparent and see-through, and he flicks back into this normal, approachable illusion, basically, and then returns the fake amulet basically back into his form.
Forgive my ignorance.
My advice, when I send you back to Asmiliath, go enjoy your time with your family and forget this foolish task and wait for the end. But if you are determined, and he kind of bends over, and you see him reach a hand down beneath the bench, he pulls out a long, gray pillar of flesh, this mangled, dehydrated arm, and he just tosses it over, it actually physically impacting the grass, kind of rolling at your feet, where an arm of Toradan just flops down between you all.
I'll bend down and pick it up.
Give me a wisdom saving throw, sir.
Clay will already be pulling out his bedroll.
Decker, as you touch it, I'm assuming maybe even using the same arm that you did to grab out of the acidic bath in Ziggurat. Potentially it's what Shevlin is saying, maybe it's the realm that you're in, but you just feel all of his doom and gloom and dreary demeanor seeping in. You feel this sinking pit in your heart as you know that what he says is true. You know that this is futile and that maybe he is right. Maybe you should just return to Ukin, enjoy the time you have left, and give up on this worthless exercise.
Probably just sit down, kind of dumbfounded, not saying anything.
Fool of a boy. Clay will throw the bedroll on top
Danica
of
would
the,
kind of step up behind Decker as you swipe the bedroll over it, kind of give you a little shake before whispering her, "Brother, get the fuck up."
Why?
Because I'm not fucking dying here, neither are you. Get the fuck up.
I just slowly look up at her and just kind of resignedly step up because she said so, not because of anything else.
I'll from inside my garb, I will take out the ring box, and with one hand, like with the thumb on one hand, just sort of flip the lid open and kind of hold it towards Shevlin without saying anything.
Kind of like lifts his head, peering into the device or the container. And then he just raises a hand up. And as he does, the vibrating box that you've been holding, the eye inside that kind of been jittering around, leaps from the container and darts across the space, landing into his palm before he just slowly turns it over to look down at it. Interesting. What am I supposed to do with this?
Allow us to benefit from your hindsight, if you'll forgive the play on words.
There isn't quite a bit of humor here, if you could imagine. You see his fingers begin to close around it, and just holding it within his spiritual or ethereal grasp for a moment. And he's looking you in the eye as he holds this, staring almost directly into your soul, it feels like. I see that you have my spark inside of you. Are you a chosen?
After fashion, I am an heir of the Knights of the West. The only one.
Well, I would like to say that companionship comes naturally, but it's rather lonely being a hero. And you see him pull his fingers away, and where the twisted, gross maroon flesh once was, he holds out this pure, almost pearl-like sphere. And then it begins to idly glow whiter and whiter as he lets it kind of roll idly around in his hand. He's still keeping his eye contact with you. You may have my spark, and you may think that you are worthy or able to do what I could not. But just know that you are no different, that you are no better, and that you will fail. And I'm sorry. And then he gives his hand like a quick flick, and the circle grows brighter and brighter and brighter, almost beginning to kind of like hurt to look at as he begins moving his eyes from one to the other, giving you all a look. I hope I'm wrong, but I rarely am. And with this bright, white flash, all of you feeling your vision go blurry, having to like shield your eyes, the world fades. There's a black moment. And you find yourself all feeling stone, feeling damp humidity. And you wake up in the Shevlin's HQ.
Is the mural of the tree in front of us?
You are in the underground chamber where all the doors are open with that fountain in the center that Valorant had stepped in. As you get your bearings and find yourself here, you realize all of the water is gone. Even the water that was idly sitting in the fountains or kind of cascading down are dry. Dry as if there was never water in them. And you just find yourself alone for the moment.
Wait, are the doors still open or?
All the doors are open.
Okay. You're just trapped in here.
What was the statue of again?
You got the briefest description last time that it could potentially be a idol of Arovica, but it's not like specific.
Okay. But a female,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Valoran, as you find yourself coming back, you would feel something clasp in your hand.
Oh, what have I got?
If you glance down, either, kind of crooking the remains in your arms, in your palm would be this subtly glowing white eye. It is slightly slimy to the touch as it kind of slips around into your grasp, and the eye itself is this like brilliant light blue, this kind of sky appearance, as it almost feels like the pupil rolls enough to make eye contact with you and then stares up at you.
For the time being, I will put it back in my ring box I've been carrying it around in and stow it about my person. Dealing with a lot of stuff right now.
Decker, as you find yourself coming back, Danica would quickly kind of like get her bearings and run up to you, and now facing your front, kind of grabs both your shoulders, giving you a little shake. Are you back? Are you my brother? You're muted.
How am I feeling?
You would not be feeling that same weighty effect. There might be some lingering, real dread from the situation that you've been through, but there isn't anything active upon you.
Feeling better. Look over at Clay. And that is why we don't meet our heroes, sir.
Clay, give me a perception check. Sweet. Clay, as you are also attempting to come to terms with quite a lot, and Decker turns to you, just kind of idly meeting his gaze, your eyes drop ever so slightly as you see this tiny black tendril on his skin, this like dark spot on his complexion, kind of poking out from beneath his clothing.
Decker, remove your shirt.
Little bold Clay.
Remove your shirt. There's no time for jokes. And
No,
reach over.
I'll take it off.
So Decker, as you remove whatever is covering your torso, you would all spot about the size of maybe like a hand width. In the center of your chest, there is the expertly cut design, almost of a tattoo kind of nature, of a black flower with 6 different petals kind of stemming off of the center, with a skull in the middle, staring directly forward. And you would see that Decker now has this large, strange symbol. Decker, give me a history check. With advantage. No, religion with advantage. I'm lying. I keep forgetting that's a thing. As you are getting this kind of weird view of it, trying to take it in from your perspective, you can identify it rather quickly as not only the symbol of Ramut's, but the death bloom flower that is used in some of his rituals and some of his undertakings. And it seems that you have this strange combination of the two now tattooed onto your chest.
Look over at Danica. Gavin will shit a golden goose egg when he sees this.
What did you do? Was there a
What
tattoo
is that?
parlor up there that I didn't see?
I'm gonna start checking myself for tattoos.
I have no idea, sister.
She kind of like reaches out and just kind of like pushes on it to see if it's real, and it, for all intents and purposes, just appears to be like a tattoo in your skin. She kind of like tries to rub it, tries to like smear it, and it's just there, and she kind of just like stares at it almost dumbfounded.
Oh, wait. And I'll take the telescope and just...
If you look at Decker with the telescope, it takes you a moment, because he appears to not be there. Like he is literally invisible. Until you bring the telescope down, and he's there, and you bring it back up, and he's invisible, you bring it back down, and he's not there. And you slowly raise up the telescope, and he's still invisible.
What? What?
What did you see?
It's more of what I didn't see.
It's not there when you look through the telescope.
No. You're not there.
Shit.
I'm gonna look over at Clay really quick just to make sure.
So Clay would be there, glowing in his normal energy. As you were all conversing, coming from the southern hallway, making the noise of your reappearance in your conversation, you would see Gavin coming from around the corner. In his grasp is that clay amulet that you saw on Diavance's neck. And as he looks over, and I'm assuming Decker, you might turn to see him as he comes in, you would see his eyes drop down to your chest, and then his whole face just loses all of its color. You see his jaw go slack, you see his eyes narrow down in little slits as he stares over at you. Says, No, you fucking Caspians get everything! And he starts like trembling over to you even quicker.
What the hell is it? I didn't do anything.
He like races up, grabs your shoulder, and he just like peers down at it. He's like, What did you do? Who did you talk to? What?
I was talking to Shevlin. He threw Tordan's arm at me. I picked Tordan's arm up, and then he teleported us here, and now I've got this. And apparently, when he looks at me through his magic telescope, I'm not there. That's as concise a summary as I can give you. I have no fucking idea.
Stop.
I feel fine.
I know what it is, but we will not discuss it now. There is quite the list. And he kind of looks at the bedroll in Clay's hand or arms, and he holds the amulet up, and he just looks like so overwhelmed. His eyes are kind of just like darting everywhere, and he just like juts the amulet out at you, Clay. You were told to have this. Take the amulet. Jeez.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll hold the arm for you, Clay, and I'll just scoop up the bedroll.
Keep it in the blanket, please.
You don't think I know this?
He would move his gaze back, up to you, Decker, and he kind of like takes a steadying breath. Decker, you have been selected by Ramuts. This is not something usual. I don't even know fully what this means, but I have heard of this before. We have to discuss, but it seems that you have been on quite the adventure, and I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Why don't we leave here and discuss it somewhere else? Somewhere with more sun.
Is it still today, or...?
You've been gone for 5-10 minutes?
Oh, thank goodness.
He kind of looks over to you, Valoran, kind of making sure that you're still there before talking to you. I don't know if condolences are in order, but it seems that the late commander is no longer with us.
I think I expected as much.
For what it's worth, he seemed pleased that his task was complete, is what he kept saying.
I ask you to help us bring him out to...
I can go retrieve him. And he'll
Thank you.
scurry off.
Alright, let's hopefully get out of here before probably Novin or the Direwolf or something just shows up to take something from us.
Is
Right.
is it safe to stash that thing with the other one, or should we keep them separate?
Separate, I would think.
Then perhaps a visit to a blacksmith whenever we have a chance.
There are villages in the county. I'm sure that there's someone with the ability to put something together for us.
And we have not gotten any messages from our people, have we?
No, I mean, you were just kind of told that you've only been gone like 5
Yeah.
minutes, so.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
You never know.
Danica,
Oh.
if you'll bring...
Quick interruption. Thor. Carl's gone.
But, like gone?
Gone.
Like he was there during the fight and now he's gone?
Yep. Anyway, Valoran.
Danica, if you'll bring my father, we'll find somewhere to lie him down.
She kind of meets your gaze, a little nod. There's a much subtler way to prove your point next time. She kind of like gestures to the chamber around you all.
I don't say anything. Just sort of grimace, and then leave the secret chamber to head out
Okay.
to the other halls and find a table
I'll
to
just
play NCIS.
walk by her and say, "Welcome to our life." No. Okay, wait. Carl question.
Mm-hmm.
Was he there when I was talking to Shevlin? He just
Yes.
disappeared upon teleportation.
Yes.
Where's my gem? Can I look around for the gem?
Yeah, give me an investigation check. Decker and Clay, are you doing anything currently?
I'm just gonna be looking down at my, like, through my shirt.
Mm-hmm.
The mural of the tree,
Mm-hmm.
it split open to reveal the fountain puzzle, correct? Or is that
No,
I'm
that's
trying to remember.
the mural is up in the surface on the wall of the barracks, which is an actual external building up above.
Okay. Honestly, I think Clay would head up to the mural to offer some prayers to Shevlin.
Are you keeping the leg or Thor the leg at this point?
I
have
believe
it.
Thor has the leg, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you do have that amulet, by the way, which is this little
I
like
have-
simple clay. Oh, I didn't even realize that amulet. So
The clay amulet, yeah. But yeah, he would offer his prayers to Shevlin, ending with a salute and the break the beast.
give me a wisdom check.
Check.
Thor, as you look around your immediate area, assuming that if it had been misplaced or kind of fell loose after the teleportation, it doesn't appear to be with you.
That sucks.
So, Valorant, you were attempting to find a place to put your father down for the moment?
Yeah, just a table or something like it.
Well, feel free to use whatever room you want in the HQ. The map does represent where everything is, so.
It looks like the... no, that's the library.
Yeah, library's in the middle, armory to the south. There's a little, like, chapel kind of thing off to the east. The, like, head commander's office in the northeast, and then some, like, bedrooms, and then the,
Right, well,
yeah.
We'll go to the chapel. Looks like there's plenty of flat surfaces in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to put his remains down and then go get Devance and put him on another table or flat surface.
Okay.
And then take the time to actually try to... medicine is not one of my proficiencies, but just sort of arrange the remains of Garbon in a recognizable way, and see if it seems like we managed to get all of him out.
Okay. Give me medicine with advantage, because I'm assuming Danica will be helping you kind of, like, piece the puzzle together. It'll probably take you like 10, 15 minutes. It's a pretty lengthy time. But as you start laying it out, kind of having to move a couple pieces and then getting to the end of one limb and realizing that you accidentally put one bone in the wrong spot, you would get about like 80% of his skeleton built. You realize that the lower left half of his leg is gone. Whether that was gone initially or somehow got lost in the transportation is unclear. There's a few kind of stray bones missing from like his chest area and lower. There's like one vertebrae of his spine potentially missing, but for the most part, you got the majority.
We did our best. I will take another vertebrae. And keep it and leave the rest there on the surface.
Okay.
As well as his Chevalier's charm bracelet. I'll take that with me as well. And Devance, once we've got his body there, I am also going to take his jawbone.
Okay. I will point out that his body still is intact, so you'd be kind of like ripping that out.
I try to do it as
Cleanly as
respectfully as possible, or as somberly as possible.
Yeah.
He's pretty
Sort of-
old. Would you though?
Sort of
Just
lay
kinda-
hands on him and say like, forgive me, messenger. And then wreck it off.
As you finish going through these, Danica, who's kind of left just standing and watching after assembling the body with you, will kind of walk up behind you and very gently rest a hand on your shoulder, very similar to where Decker had put a just hand on your shoulder only earlier that day, in fact. And she kind of like very softly and somewhat hesitantly speak. Are you all right? I don't know how close you were with your father.
Very close, actually. There's so much to do. I don't know where to begin. In time, seeing him like this is not something I ever imagined in my nightmares, but I know in time, it will be better for having him home and knowing what happened and having spoken to him. Gods, that's beyond the hope of any mortal. Soon it will be better.
Kind of gives your shoulder a very soft squeeze, kind of like craning her head to try and get like eye level with you. There is much to do. One thing at a time. And we will get through this.
Thank you. And turning my head to make eye contact with her for the first time, because throughout everything else he said, he was still just sort of looking over the remains. So looking at her for the first time, and I'm sorry, in my excitement, I didn't even consider that you would be pulled along with us. I did not intend to put you in danger.
You see a bit of her, like, almost like mischievous energy kind of return. Warning next time would be much appreciated. And, to be frank, for much as I care about myself, I swear to God, if my brother has some death curse on him now, I'm going to blame all on you. 100%.
I need to understand what has happened to him as well. It is beyond me at this moment. I hope that the priest Gavin understands. He seemed to have some inkling.
Even though it was rather traumatizing, it was eye-opening, to say the least. And she kind of smirks.
Well, you understand better my struggles with my temperament.
Would still appreciate you putting a lid on that.
A lid, I think, is quite impossible, but I will
Perhaps some
direct
sort
it in
of,
a more,
funnel to direct it more.
a more positive, productive trajectory.
Well, if you're going to survive, I'm gonna go check on my brother now.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Just kind of give you a nod and move.
I'm just gonna stay with the remains until the rest of the group is ready to go somewhere else.
Clay, you are in prayer up at the mural. Decker, are you anywhere specific?
I'm still just sitting, looking at my chest.
In the secret chamber room where you guys reappeared?
We haven't moved out of there, right?
Valorant is up in the, like...
Right, but, I mean, as a whole, yeah.
Yeah. So, Danica would be kind of returning there, but Gavin would have stopped to have a conversation with you there. Thor, where are you at currently?
I am standing watch in front of the door that Valorant is at.
Okay.
Just waiting and listening and using the carpet as a bazooka.
Okay. So, Decker, as you are still standing there, kind of working through what has all happened, Gavin, after handing off the corpse of Diavance to Valorant, would stop and take a few moments of silence just to kind of like be with you as it's just the two of you left in the chamber. And he would kind of look off into the distance a little bit, clearly in deep thought, before he kind of returns his eyes back to you. Dekka, there will be plenty that I have to do research on because I am not fully familiar with what you now possess. But from my passing knowledge, you hold a symbol, a power that only soul dancers use. And those are very rare. Do you feel fine?
I feel normal. Bit scared at the moment.
He kind of like reaches a hand out and like grabs your hand in like a very like soft kind of reassuring way. I'm sure that this has happened for some reason, especially it cannot be a coincidence that you show such interest in Ramutz and now carry his symbol on your flesh. Perhaps he was the one who even guided you to begin learning about him.
It's a soul dancer.
What's the easiest way to describe this? They are holy warriors that are said to dance between the line of death and life, and exist both in our realm and in the beyond.
Is it because I touched the arm?
I don't know. This is something that I do not know everything about. I wish I did. We will certainly learn more. While I am jealous, this is fascinating.
Can certainly have it if you want.
If cutting it off would work, we would currently be doing that, but I have a feeling that would not have the desired effect.
I don't know what to say right now. I'm sorry, Kevin.
Perhaps we can just pray?
Yes, let's.
So, everyone seems to kind of be in their own little space for the moment, taking their own time to reflect. I'll kind of leave it up to the party how long you all want to take a breather before collecting everyone back together. Whoever wants to initiate that.
Clay would probably take his 5-10 minutes to go collect himself in prayer and then come back down. There's a lot to do. Being sad about it is not a luxury he has, so probably trempeze on down, see Thor, I guess, would be first, and Thor, quit playing with that.
What? Fine.
Should we just call it a short rest?
Yeah, I'd say that you guys can do a short rest in this time frame.
Oh, thank God.
Don't need it.
Let's do 4 D8s.
Can we take a moment to appreciate that Clay was literally one number off from being permanently dead?
Yep.
What do you mean one number off then?
You rolled a 2. If that was a nat 1, that'd be 2 failed death saving throws, which would put you at 3.
Oh shit, yeah, no joke.
Yeah,
I mean,
you were
even
like...
still, even still after that, you were one roll away.
Yeah. God, that was...
You would have just come back in as Clay's twin brother.
Actually, that was my plan, as I am Cray.
Thank God you lived then, because I would have slapped the shit out of you.
Also, during this short rest, I will, still in the room with the remains, take out the eye and just meditate on it
Okay.
and see if anything is revealed to me about its nature.
Give me an insight check. Sweet.
Wow.
You're very drained, very emotional currently.
Yeah, that's all right.
I would also, I guess, kind of in the doorway, just sit with my legs crossed in the bedroll across my legs, and try to just like maybe fall asleep, maybe try to focus in and see if I could have a conversation with Dog. Who knows?
Go ahead and give me a wisdom check. And actually,
All right.
Decker, for the record, give me a wisdom check as well. Hey, that's not bad, actually.
That's actually impressive.
Okay, we'll have to do a whole section of what everyone feels, thinks, and learns during this time. That it will probably be some write-ups involved, because everyone is seeking religious guidance in this current moment. So, we'll get around to that for sure. But, so Clay, are you kind of gathering everybody up?
Yeah, I think Clay would his training would kick in, and mission complete, debrief, on to the next thing.
Where would
passes
everyone be
by one
gathered?
chamber, just
Yeah.
Decker, come on.
I'll head up to the surface where the caravan is.
Okay, let me go ahead.
Yeah, I will trudge up that way.
Okay.
I would just make sure with Valorant that everything's where he wants it left. And then also make sure that the eye is not going to try to jump into his skull.
After the rest is over, walking back up topside with Thor, I sort of slap him on the shoulder and say, "Well done. I saw that final moment with that thing.
Yeah, it was, and like his shoulder would give when you slap it because it's a little tired. Yeah, no, I mean it was crazy. It didn't come after me, which I was a little disappointed in. But yeah, when I got in there, I really got in there. Are you okay though? I know you took some serious hits even before that giant thing.
I will be."
Hey, we're legends now. I'll just
I
hold up
wish
the
you could
tooth.
have gotten a bigger trophy off of that mongrel.
Yeah. I wanted to cut his head off, but it just would have taken way too long, and it's really big. So,
Yes.
did you
Whatever
learn any?
whatever happens now, we are legends.
Means we can't die. That's what I've heard. We've already got one down, and I'll point at Decker.
I'll take it.
Did your eye try to jump into your face yet, or is it gonna wait for you to fall asleep?
I haven't been able to determine anything yet. It's just a very bright eye. Most
So
likely in time.
Can we talk about how your like most holy guy was like, this is a pointless mission, we're all gonna die. The gods are toying with us.
We have much to ponder. Right now, all I can say is that the simplest explanation is that 3 centuries ago, we thought that Shevlin succeeded, but he failed. And now we know the truth.
And that's where we'll take our 10-minute break.
I'm going to take Florent aside and lead him away from the group and say, Sir Lemoyne, the artifact is found.
You have it then.
Send word to Count Barbet that if it has the power that we hope, we will use it for his benefit. That is not in question.
Oh, yes, certainly. Was it down there?
I have much to discuss with my comrades before I share more. Suffice to say that we were successful.
Well, I am certainly gracious, my lord, and my liege will be grateful to hear it.
You can travel with us. We will go to Northwatch next when we leave here, or you can ride ahead, whatever suits you.
I will. I'll travel with you for the time and send word ahead.
As a separate matter, to be perfectly clear, as I said, you have my word that if I can help Count Barbet, I shall. I want a copy of Salamon's notes.
I imagine that my liege will be easily persuaded, to put it lightly. This might be a bit ambitious of me, but I hope that you understand that I've been on your path for quite some time and very eager to get my hands on this. It has been my sole purpose for a while. Can I see it?
What I am.
Same.
Well, I think Valorant's alone with him, right?
Yeah, I let him off. by
Dang
himself.
it. Doesn't
Whoa,
matter.
where did you come from?
Oh!
Always watching.
Where? It is clear that he is genuinely excited at the aspect or at the chance to see it. It's not like he's just kind of like pulling your chain or doing it for shits and giggles. There is a bit of like, when I say a kind of off-putting excitement, I don't want you to take that as like, oh, he's ready to just, slit your throat and take it. But he is so excited to see it, or seemingly so excited to see it, that it just kind of like helps you understand that he is very determined to see whatever his task is through.
So I feel it necessary to repeat myself a little bit. So I reach a hand into my garb and stop there and wait to get his eyes and say, I will help Count Barbet, if at all possible, and we will go to Northwatch next, directly. The eye belongs to me.
All right, that's very understood, my lord.
So, both hands on the box,
Mhm.
like right next to my body,
Mhm.
I open the lid.
Roll initiative. No, I'm kidding. He would kind of glance at it, and you would see this kind of like shimmer in his eyes, reflecting a bit of the glow coming off of the box, and this just like visible, almost like vibrating excitement kind of crosses his figure as he like takes his hands up and kind of like rests them. Thank you, my lord. I've been I have not failed my liege yet, and I wasn't planning on doing so this time.
Nor I. I don't need to tell you, but I will anyway. Discretion has never been more important.
May I remind you that we had a rather discreet run-in the first time we met.
I will take any and all assurances any time I can get them.
You have nothing to fear from me, my lord.
Onward.
So then everyone packs into the carriage. I'm assuming probably just enough space for the Golden Hearts themselves, and converse while riding back to the Corsair. It's about an hour, 2-hour trip. So you'd all find yourself on the bumpy little road.
Thor and Clay would probably have to take one bench. The two humans can take the other bench, and that evens things.
Okay.
But I think Clay would. Would Thor still have the arm there with him?
Yup. Just
He's kind of eyeing up his own arm, like,
Pushing the blanket off of my face here. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That was not what I was hoping to find. Lord Athelvane, I don't think I need to go into too much detail as to how big of a shock that should come to our community. I am honor-bound, duty-bound to relay some of this to the Order.
I have no objection. I believe you can both give them the news and honor the previous oaths.
The matter at hand, I dare say, well overshadows any concerns I had previously.
For what it's worth, it didn't seem to concern the man himself very much either. We can take some sort of cue from him.
I mean, he didn't seem to care about his corporeal form.
corporeal.
Corporeal form.
it's the one word that Thor has learned.
I offer you my sincerest apologies for calling you a blasphemer previously.
I accept. Gladly. These are... The events of this week are nigh unfathomable for us all.
Yes, and Decker, what was up with the tattoo?
I don't know, Clay. You know as much as I do.
Not only that, but what happened when you touched the thingy? Did it talk to you? Did it say, Decker, put me on?
No. I was filled with despair. I was certain that our purpose here was pointless. I felt much as Shevlin expressed. That feeling has gone away. As much as you two idolize the man, that's all he was. He's not a god. He was a man who ultimately failed in his mission. Doesn't mean we will on ours.
It may surprise you, Decker, but I tend to agree. I will not presume to know much of anything at this juncture. We have to forget all that we think we know. Because history has told us a very different story from Shevlin himself. And I think that we would do well to begin by considering that it appears, first, that he was not successful, and second, that the enemy has had 3 centuries to wear him down. And that is the state in which we found him.
Absolutely. And when I alluded to it a bit earlier, but when I was a child, I was no good at puzzles. I'm still not. But I think this is what this is. The gods are beyond us. We'll never understand exactly what they mean, what they want. But I believe that this cycle, such as it is, has been repeated. And I think it's for a purpose. I don't know what it is, but I think they keep repeating it in the hopes that one day someone will solve that puzzle. I believe this is our chance on this cycle.
Well, to review, Shevlin said they had succeeded in splitting up his body. I could be wrong here, but I thought the gods were not meant to have tangible forms. If that is the case, perhaps defeating him, simply fighting him, was never the answer then. He had purpose. He had a job. To ferry. Well, to help the dead transfer from this life to the next.
Appears as if we saw where they were waiting. And I, for one, would like to solve this puzzle because it doesn't look very fun.
What if we are not meant to defeat him, but bind him back to the Void Realm, back to his plane?
But will that only last for a limited time?
I'll take as little time as I can, any time I can get.
Well, but shouldn't we want to solve this problem permanently?
Of course.
Because from what he was saying, now I take what he was saying a little less now that I know what this thing does, and I'll just jiggle the arm. Because, I mean, even the greatest people, some things just have a way of getting to them. And I saw the little yellow stuff in his eye, so you can't say that there wasn't something there. But if we can find a way to break this so that we don't have to worry about this, or our kids or our kids' kids don't have to worry about this in a relatively short amount of time, I feel like that would be for the better.
Shevlin said that he at least bound part of Tordan unto himself, his soul. Perhaps that is what led to his despair, but maybe in all of his wisdom, he simply didn't do it the right way. Could we bind him to a mortal form.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We have even more reason to return to Bronze Shard. I can see now there were questions that we didn't even know to ask of the scholars there the first time.
Also, can we talk with gods? You know, because you got a point of Valorant. You got Aerobica going, Clay. I don't even know, something about Star People, and then Decker. You're, yeah, Rami. You got him. If we're all chosen people, don't you think we can talk to the people we were chose by?
Yeah, and what the hell is this thing? I'll pull out the amulet. Or the medallion?
Basically, it's like a clay coin that's almost like a little spiral that's just held by some rope.
Can I telescope it?
Yeah.
And I don't remember. Did I know what that was?
Yes. I think I described it a little bit briefly last episode, but it's... Gavin alluded to it a little bit, but it is a messenger token, and it has a few different use cases to it, but the main part that would be either described to you or somewhat in your distant knowledge is that they're kind of like flare signals. If whoever's wielding them, whoever's been blessed by it, whoever's been given it, needs help or needs to communicate with a messenger, the messenger that bestowed the token, they break it open and that summons them to them. So, Diavance had it from whatever messenger he had made a pact with, and now you have it.
And this was for the Earth Father specifically.
Yeah, so to kind of give it some semblance of what we have in real life, if the Earth Father is God, then the messengers are angels, and that's kind of the dynamic you have here, is where the Earth Father is a creator and the messengers is little worker bees that he sends out to do his stuff.
So we essentially have one commune with God if we need it.
Yeah, kind of.
More like a commune with his secretary.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw what happened with the other gentleman. I'll kind of gesture slightly respectfully towards Valorant, but I'm not really interested in getting stuck in a dilapidated building waiting for the next group of heroes to come through.
Mr. Clay has an excellent point. If we know anything for certain, it is that each of us, have the eyes of gods on us now. We must observe that fact with great care and reverence. And I actually the sort of elbow. I actually don't know if he's sitting next to me, but either elbow Thor or kind of raise an eyebrow at him.
Well, what did I do?
Care. That's all. When trying to speak to gods.
Yeah, I care a lot.
We know that some of them are apparently quite capricious.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that we can assume to have all of their support. I wish there had been more time to talk to Shevlin about what he meant.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even tell me he was taking Carl. He just took him. Rude. And now all communication with Kralin, I don't know. I'm sorry. Is gone.
It isn't gone. We just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Or use Giggles.
Well,
Does Giggles know people there?
He knows
Yeah.
someone who knows someone, I'm sure.
Okay.
I have to ask, after learning what we learned, do any of you have doubts? Have your goals changed?
I have
Or
none.
do we... Thor? Decker?
Have my doubts, yes.
Fair enough.
I mean, it is kind of like, if the greatest guy in all of history couldn't stop him, how can us four stop him?
Whether or not we succeed is a separate matter. But I will not be observed by gods or men to sit with my thumb up my ass while the world ends.
I did not see where one of his hands was.
We will certainly try. But right now, between the four of us, I've got no closer to understanding why we're here, why us, how us, even where we need to go next. We're collecting these pieces, but then what? Then how?
Also, has there been any Novan sightings recently?
Yeah, we saw him a bit earlier. The giant eye on top of us.
I meant like
I'm fucking
human.
no.
I have to ask. We've seen a lot of references to Tordan's eye. Saw the damn thing in the sky in the void, but does he only have the one?
Apparently. He only ever grows one on people.
Now, if
Maybe once we find his head, we can see.
well, if he has two, then that means, well, even if he only has one, at least part of him is still bound to the void, or at least watching over, whether it is to torment Shevlin or because it cannot leave, and that's his sanctuary. There must be a way to send him back.
We simply do not know where his corporeal form ends and his divine one begins. I'm not sure that the image of an eye in the void is proof of anything.
One thing I do know, and I'll look over at Valoran. It's becoming clear that nothing short of combined effort of the greatest minds of all the realm will succeed. We must do our best to end the strife between men.
Can we do both? Bring together the people of the lands and defeat Tordan?
Gentlemen, I believe heroes can do that. Maybe it's time we wear that mantle.
It would seem that it is one of the few things that Shevlin did not do at the time.
I'm past hero. I'm already a legend.
You understand what I'm saying? This is simply a tool. I say we wield that.
Go on.
This war between the kingdoms, it gets us nowhere, but it takes attention from the people that could be helping us. I don't know how, but I believe that will be instrumental in our success.
I agree. In fact, as I was explaining to Danica on the way to the Chevalier's redoubt, I would like the two of you to represent Liamus to the Queen of Folk when we arrive in her court.
Be glad to, but I'm not sure how much weight a third boy of not even the most important house in Liamus will have with your queen. I'll do my best.
We have in our possession abundant proof of what is transpiring. I loathe the idea of showing off Tordan pieces like some sort of carnival show from town to town, but if the leaders of Asmiliath must be convinced, what greater leverage could there be?
Well, what of the eye? Many will claim Tordan is a bad bedtime story, but Shevlin is revered through all the lands. If not as deeply as our orders revere him, then at the very least he is known, well respected.
And you got his blessing personally.
Such as it is.
Between
No, you're right. I agree with that as well. It is a sign, at least, that we know what we are talking about. I will not keep it secret, but I will study it and share what insight I can gain. And if it will attract followers, then let them come.
If you need me to put it in my eye, I will take the bullet for you.
We still have the residue of the void on our skin. I want to get at least one good night's sleep before anyone goes carving themselves up.
Yeah, I do need to sleep.
I
I am exhausted.
At the mention of residue of the void, Clay would start checking himself to see if any of that liquid substance had been left in any of his like pouches, or if any of it had come through with him.
Give me investigation. You still feel like kind of residual pain from it, that kind of cold and burning sensation that was actually driving you towards death. You would not find any physical traces of it.
Okay, well. Then I guess that's the plan then. Band the lands back together. And at the same time, thwart Novin.
Gather allies.
Gather knowledge.
I feel like I should say gather something, but
Blessings. Say blessings.
gather blessings.
Courage.
Come
Alright,
on.
it's your turn, Clay.
Keep this train going.
We shall gather the symbols of the gods together. And as a unified front, reestablish peace among Asmiliath.
Also, we need to gather some gold. Because we have really just found nothing recently. We haven't been paid for anything. We haven't done anything.
I mean,
Period.
all of you look like you have fairly nice equipment. I'm not.
Make no mistake, Thor, we have been paying.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I understand we have good stuff, but we need money to fund things.
So, Lord Athelvain, I believe there was a task we were to complete before heading on then.
I'm sorry, you'll have to refresh my memory.
Well, I could be mistaken, but we must head north. To the
Oh,
border.
yes. I have given my word to one of my precious few allies in Folk that we will try to save his life. And while we are there, there's some unfinished business that could result in obtaining more leverage over important people in this country. It couldn't hurt our cause.
And then the Goliath issue to help smooth things over between folk and the Empire.
Also true.
Are they on the way? I know you said it was like along the river, but I don't remember where you said along the river.
So they've been going kind of all the way from west to east, almost to the coastline, all the way to the mountains, basically following the border, the faction border. So Northwatch Castle is kind of up tucked right next to the coast, and they could be anywhere along that borderline, that river.
Was Giggle say anything recently? The GM.
No, as far like it really only has been like 3 days since you guys have gotten like an active update from him because of how much we've done like session wise.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but once he gets up there, the spies that you have kind of in that area would be giving you a bit more updated information.
Where was last known? Just
kind of, you see where the two rivers meet a little bit north of that kind of swash of land? About,
like right here?
Like right there, yeah. That would be roughly where they were last seen.
Okay.
It's also Count Barbet's business to know what is happening along his section of the border. He may be able to tell us something.
And there is the relatively small matter of us now having 2 pieces with us.
We are a bigger target now.
Confrontation
not-
with Novan soon is, I think, inevitable.
We just have to be ready. Because we can't be coming out of some excursion. Like after I, brutally annihilate Kuztar. That's going to be a bad time for you guys.
When you succeed, will you not be the leader?
Yeah, I think that's how it works. Although I have to pick up the hammer. The hammer is the key.
Then, with any luck, they will follow you and join us.
Yeah. Then comes the damage of a Goliath party stomping around in your kingdom. What do I do with them after that? That was going to be my next question. Is what do I do afterwards?
After you take over?
Yeah. Do they follow us? Do I send them back?
That's what I'm saying. They should join us, if at all possible. A horde of Goliaths at our back will be another sign to take us seriously. And we have 2 pieces to guard, after all.
I'm sure it won't be that simple, but we are simple people, so maybe it will be that simple.
Almost nothing we do is simple, but I believe you can do it, Thor.
You are a hero, after all.
A legend.
We're all legends now. It's just, the worst part about this is really nobody knows what we've done.
They will.
Yes, when I tell them how I slayed the werewolf.
Yep. You did great.
Well, then back to your home then, Lord Athelvane. Resupply, head north.
Indeed.
I just wanted to point out, Thor, that I fought with many people in my days of ranging across the country, and I have to admit, I seem to do rather well when I'm fighting with you.
Hey, I make best friends with everyone I meet. Balorn, he was the second one. You're the third one. Clay's the fourth one now. I mean, we're all best friends, which means we build off each other. Clay had that giant sky beam that I'm pretty sure almost killed that thing instantly. You have your little, I don't even know, I don't want to find out really, but the little boom boom thing that happens. Valorant also kind of has a boom that happens. And I just shred through things.
Should work on expanding your vocabulary. But boom is appropriate, I suppose.
Makes a little boom. It's like...
Actually, I would be rather curious to see if the light of the heavens could do anything to this. I'll smack the blanket roll. It has served me quite well in the past. Perhaps
Now-
it can do something to this thing.
You know, Clay, I'm not going to say it won't, but I'm going to say somebody's probably tried that. It might make it cleaner, though. Maybe it'll clean off some of the gross old skin, and maybe he'll have a brand new arm.
If it can but cause Tordan even an ounce of pain, anything I can do to hit back, I'll take it.
True. Maybe we should just, like, stab his torso every night. Just make sure he feels it. He knows that we know.
It would
don't
take him
think-
longer to regenerate if we damage the pieces.
And maybe when he reassembles, he'll, like, already have so many holes in him that he'll just, like, die literally right when he gets up.
Miss,
I am somewhat concerned that every time we open the leaded lid, it brings Novin that much closer to our next encounter.
by that logic, the longer we leave this out of the box, the larger the target becomes on our backs. I hesitate to bring them together, but
There are craftsmen in Kappelmont. I will send a message as soon as we get back to the manor and see what we can have made before we have to depart.
We can have something made ahead of time so that when we arrive, it's already made and we just pick it up.
though no one's going to make a security chest in, what is it, another 2 hours back to the manor?
No, I just meant like along the road, we can like shoot off to, you know, another place real quick and just pick something. Okay, never mind. Bad idea. Moving on.
No, it isn't a bad idea. There are settlements between here and Northwatch. If that's what we must do, then it's better than nothing.
So the party is traveling back to Corsair. Is there any other last comments before you arrive? Alright. So taking the time to debrief after the adventure into the Void Realm and all that has been learned from it, the Golden Heart caravan would arrive back to Corsair, being left much as you found it, or yeah, much as you left it only a few hours ago. What would be the important task that you set to?
Bathe.
I'd combine bathing and drinking.
I'm going to find my sister.
Mm-hmm.
There is absolutely going to be some kind of write up here, but the high points are I tell her everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask her how quickly she thinks that our mother could get back.
It'd be a couple days, like 1 or 2.
Well, whether we're still here or not, it's worth sending word to her.
Okay.
I'm not gonna wait for her, but if she gets back before we leave, then that's great.
Okay, what is the time frame for leaving?
I don't think we've settled on one other than when we're ready to go, we're going.
So, head back, sleep, wake up, and leave, basically?
Probably.
But the other thing I'm gonna do, so talking to Genevieve,
Mm-hmm.
sending a message or asking her to send a message to our mother,
Mm-hmm.
asking about getting another leaded chest before we leave Corsair, if that's possible, or how long it would take.
Mm-hmm.
And committing my father's vertebrae and Devance's jawbone to the reliquary.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's probably appropriate to leave the Genevieve conversation for a write-up. We'll do that.
Yeah.
She'll send one for your mother, but if you guys are leaving, basically as soon as you're ready, there is a very slim chance that she would even get the letter and head this way in that time frame. As far as the lead chest goes, I would think it's reasonable that you could find some sort of container or chest, find some stray lead in some regard, and fashion a kind of jury rig solution for the time. It won't have like all the locks and it won't be as secure, but at least it serves somewhat of a similar purpose.
Is there a way to dip the arm into molten lead and literally just coat it in molten lead?
You can try that if you want, sir.
Because I'm just thinking here, if we can't get a nicely furnished box with lead, if we just melt it down and submerge the thing in it, let it dry, or cool down, then that's one, hellishly difficult to get to it. They'd have to take the time to melt the lead.
For
Or
trying,
Mike's
there's
farting in the
got to
wind,
be
too.
a blacksmith or a forge of some kind. Even if they just make horseshoes there, that would have the tools that would be required.
Would you be trying to do this through the night or on your way in your travels, or when would this take place?
We didn't sound like we were at the old HQ for very long, so if we've got time before bed tonight, we can give it a shot.
Okay. I think it would be somewhat reasonable to have it either nearby or in like the manor's grounds. Just who's coming and describe to me exactly this process?
I figure that we all go, and being as it's my land, I whose ever equipment we are using, I give them whatever coin they were expecting for the day and say, go home, take the day off.
Okay.
We're gonna rent your stuff here.
All right. We'll go ahead and have this take place before you arrive back. It'd just be the cleanest way to make this all work. They just like stop by a somewhat regional blacksmith as the caravan. I don't think it required too much, especially being the lord here, that paying them off and telling them to, disappear for a little bit isn't out of the question.
I do it nicely. I'm
Yeah.
not gruff about it,
Yeah.
but
If you
I'm
go
also
to
not answering any questions.
So I'm assuming you all go to the forge, heat it up, find some container, melt lead, and then what is the plan to put it in?
Okay. So, based on forging processes, you smelt down the lead to its liquid form, right?
Mhm.
You have your container. Now, as far as the arm is concerned, it's in a blanket. We can just drop that into a container, right? That's easy enough. Alternatively, you should have, and I believe they're called calipers, but don't quote me on that one.
Mhm.
But the tongs, the big-ass blacksmithing tongs. You can just grab those and hold them, and because those things are usually at least like 1.5 to 2 feet long.
Mhm.
So you got some distance, and either pour the lead and then dunk the whole thing into it and let it just cool off, or put it in a box and then pour the lead to then encapsulate it.
I think we dunk it because I would be afraid the molten lead would just burn the box down.
Fair enough.
Are you putting it in a box and then letting it, or letting the limb itself?
I think letting the limb and then putting the leaded
Limb.
limb in a box.
Okay. So, the party, Thor, Decker, Clay, Valoran, as you are stood in this kind of outside workshop forge, it's a bit of like an awning jutting off of this main residential building that the man lives in. you all kind of, get all situated, get the lead smelted down, and have a little vat of it as you pull the arm out. Everyone gets a good look at it. Who is actually doing the dipping?
Has it been a long rest yet, or are we?
No. This is still you traveling to Corsair.
Then-
Clay's fine with doing it.
Well, it's not
Okay,
going to be me because I have disadvantage on everything.
Clay's happy to do so because that's his job.
I'm going to stay within 10 feet of you.
Alrighty. So Clay, as you get the arm, get the tongs, get all situated, having your companions help lower the vat so you're not at eye level with the rim of it, you begin kind of lowering it down. I'm assuming like fingers first is probably the best way to do it. As you break the surface of the lead with the finger, you see a little bit of like film on the surface kind of pushing away. As you lower it about an inch, you would see a bit of like flame, just the heat of the lead kind of causing the skin to cinder and then produce flame. At that moment, you see all the flame get sucked into the skin, getting absorbed into this strange, dehydrated flesh that you have the control over. And as you lower it just a little bit more, there's this background, slowly growing, ear-piercing hiss. It's just like constant feedback noise. And before you can really figure out what's going on or what's about to happen, everyone give me a dex save.
+5 due to Valorant, correct?
Yeah, anybody within 10 feet of me, which you
I
definitely.
assume we all are.
Sure.
Do I have advantage on this because I can see? It's an effect I can see. Like if it's an explosion,
sure. That's fine. I'll take that. All right.
Cool.
So that would be 22, 13. All right.
It's included in mine, so mine is actually an 8.
All right.
Dang it.
Clay, as you lower the limb down, all of you would feel this quick rush of air, this like sudden suction, and before either of you can shout or say a word or warn the others, there is this sudden blast, this like low resonating boomf. Clay, you kind of immediately roll out of the way. Thor, you duck and hide. Decker's already kind of like casually slipping away. But Valorant, being so focused on it, being so intrigued on what this might be, the container that holds the lead erupts almost like a grenade, sending molten lead out in this fine spray, and you feel it kind of hitting your skin, hitting your chest. As you like hold up a hand to catch some of it, you are just splattered with this burning liquid. You would take 10 points of damage while everyone else takes 5. And the arm and the tongs would just be everywhere. The roof of the workshop would be kind of caved in ever so slightly. Tools and various projects that are halfway done lay scattered on the floor as you deal with the fallout of the arm being damaged.
Any of the lead stick to the arm there, or is it still in its normal position? Fuck.
It would be laying on the ground.
So, just standing there, fists clenched, just enduring the pain like somebody who got splashed by a puddle as a car drove by. I say, we'll have to lead the box. And I don't think you should moonbeam the arm.
I am inclined to agree. Lord Ethelbane, my apologies. I can heal that up if you want.
I'll get Genevieve to check back in with the blacksmith and help him put this mess back together.
Well, it was kind of worth a shot.
No
Never
regrets.
tried to destroy one.
I should have remembered something very similar happened with Kododo. Thor, you remember, it blew up very much like this.
Oh. Well. Wait, just to make sure. He's talking about, like, once you defeated Kododo, it blew up? Correct?
Is that what you're referring to? I think so, right? Yeah.
I mean, I heard it, but if you don't remember, I was busy holding off a horde of kobolds.
No, that's right. No fault of yours. Let's just call this a lesson learned and go back to the drawing board.
But maybe, Clay, if we moonbeam it in a field.
No, I'm going to agree with Lord Ethelvine on this one. Lesson learned.
Okay.
If you don't mind to hear, I can collect little bits that scattered about to maybe just put them on top of the limb for now.
I'm going to find the water that the blacksmith uses for quenching and sort of splash the splotches that are on me so that they will firm up and then I can pick them off.
All right. But yes, after that fabulous attempt, we will proceed to you guys arriving at Corsair, speaking with Genevieve with a bit more damaged complexion this time. And then I'm assuming going with the kind of rudimentary lead chest that was originally introduced. Okay. So, spending the night in Corsair, Decker is getting drunk and bathed, Clay is getting bathed, Thor?
Thor would probably just be, like, he would be at the caravan, because, I mean, I don't really have, unless somebody specifically asked me to do something, like, I don't have anything specific to do, so I'd just have the bedroll, watch the caravan, meditate, / fall asleep, and I guess just watch the caravan, reaching out if I can.
Okay. Valor, is there anything else you're doing?
In addition to the other stuff I talked about, whatever time I have left that isn't taken up by sleep, I will continue focusing on the eye and meditating on it, pondering it.
Is everyone reaching out to their respected sponsors this evening?
Yeah.
I am not. I am just focused on the eye, but I am not praying to any deities specifically.
Valor, give me insight. Everyone else, give me wisdom.
Well, you made us roll wisdom earlier
Yep.
for use later.
Yep.
Okay. So
I
you
got
want
you.
another one?
Yep.
Okay.
Damn. All right. So Thor, you're in the caravan for the night.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm just, like, chilling by there.
So as everyone kind of winds down, finding their own ways to bed and relaxation and to kind of have some isolated time for themselves after all the events, Thor, you would be, either set up on your bedroll or kind of like drifting off to sleep. It's around probably 9 in the afternoon, 9 in the evening, when you feel kind of a presence in front of you. And if you open your eyes, you would see Giggles kind of standing in front of you, looking you in the eye.
Ugh. Oh my gosh, Giggles! You gotta say something. I was
Something.
about. Okay.
We need to discuss things. Yes.
Yeah. What's going on? Do it.
Everybody.
Okay.
We need everybody.
Oh. Okay. All right. I will go get them, or I'll yell at the guard. I'll go get them. It's fine. I'll just
As you
lazily
get up and move past him, you would see him looking nervous for the first time.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. And I will gather the group, and especially warning Valorant that something seems, or I'll warn them all that something seems weird.
So everyone
Nice.
gets woken up and brought back to the caravan. So Giggles, upon your return, would kind of take everyone away from the rest of the group so you're out of earshot of any of the other caravan hands. And he would kind of look between all of you, and he seems very easily observing, fidgety, kind of almost like scared to some extent, which is rather unlike him. But he'd kind of move his eyes between all of you and then look down at the ground for a moment, kind of like build the energy up and then look back up at you all. We might want to get Master Campbellton in on this. There has been a development with Giles that is problematic.
Got it. And I'll just like throw my pickaxe his way, like near him, and then just whip it back to get his attention, and then just direct him over.
So Sir Campbellton would come over, kind of looking at everyone, looking at Giggles, and then kind of looking suspiciously at the group.
Giggles has some news, and he said you should be a part of it.
All right, out with it then, sir. Giggles kind of looks at him, looking much more scared of him than anybody else. The King of Giles is dead. And you would see Sir Campbellton's face, like, solidify. Like, his jaw clenches, his eyes narrow. He just, like, stares down at Giggles, not moving a muscle.
How did this happen?
I only got the brief report from Gaglano, and he's fallen in battle, is all that I was told.
A battle with whom?
Roy Mzev, I assume. And the Empire has declared open war with Giles now. And he kind of looks over at Sir Campbellton, who just, like, you can see him taking, like, a deep breath, and then turns around and walks away.
Things are moving quickly now.
Oh boy, thank God. A single night. A single night of just peace. Okay,
That really sucks. How are we gonna tell?
I'm gonna leave.
No. Mr. Googles, tell me, do you know anyone who may be able to relay a message to the Shevlin's Chosen?
I know the head alchemist there, yes.
Okay, I will need you to send a few things. I'll reach out to you later. Be ready.
Sorry to be the bearers of bad news, but I thought you'd want to know.
It's okay,
Do
Giggles.
I know who has probably taken over?
Most likely, without any other information, it would be his eldest son.
Which the group minus Clay had met, I think.
I don't
Yeah.
think
Or-
did you meet him? I know you met Brandon
No.
Campbellton. Did
Oh,
you
wait.
meet him
Or-
briefly
or
outside the
saw
throne
him.
room?
It sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think you
we
guys
might have.
visually saw him at one point.
Yeah, but we never like
Talked
talked
to
to
him,
him.
As Giggles is turning to leave, I ask him, I assume the Crown Prince lives.
I've only gotten one message. I assume Gaglino is quite busy relaying the news.
Please relay our condolences.
Yes.
In Gnomish, Clay would say, "You did well. Thank you."
Kind of looks at you and then realizes what has happened, replying in Gnomish. I hope that Sir Campbellton is not angry with me. I would rather not want to anger that man.
I would not recommend taking him out for a drink, but he's a military man. He'll find a way.
I'm gonna go wait and see if there's more information, but thank you.
And
I don't want to
turning-
be crass. There are many reasons why this bodes ill, but I hope that the Crown Prince will honor his father's sponsorship of us.
And to be pragmatic, if he does not, should we seek favor with the Empire? An army is what we will need when the time comes.
I suspect that the hand of Novin moves in the Empire. I'm not holding my breath.
I just hope the king actually died the way they say he did.
I find it hard to believe that he simply fell in battle.
That's what I'm
Don't
saying.
often fall in battle.
What'd you say?
Kings don't often fall in battle.
No.
I mean, I could tell he liked to fight, but I can't. Sometimes I can't even imagine
Well,
beating him.
for a king to fall, ranks must have been broken. There must be many dead. The Giles army, I can't imagine, is as large as it once was.
Or an assassin slipped through the line.
Hmm.
Maybe not even an assassin of Pruitt.
Well, I was going to say Roy Mishev. I never considered them much of a country to begin with.
The Kardish house has not produced a leader to match the late King Hunfor. I can say that with confidence.
Then in all likelihood it is the machinations of the Brood Empire.
So, should we try to go to Pruitt after we're done here?
Oh, from what you've described, they're the only ones you haven't spoken to yet.
I think
They're
if
the
we
ones
go
that are-
from what we've got now, that's not going to get us very far. I believe the course we're on is the right one still.
We must remember that the evil path that Novan is on began in Prurid. He has had more time to arrange things there than anywhere else in the land.
So if we can uproot him at his, I guess, his home, might help us everywhere else.
I would settle all our other affairs before venturing there, but maybe we'll learn something else between now and then.
Yeah, somebody else will probably die.
Everyone give me a perception check.
I swear to God, if it's fucking Danica poking her head in, Clay wouldn't know either way.
Decker, being the most observant currently after being somewhat inebriated and then bathing and now having some time to recuperate, kind of on the fringe of your hearing, you would get this small crack of lightning and the sound of a tree falling over.
Something's going on outside. Best to be ready.
That didn't take long.
Oh, what is it now? Where did you hear it?
Heard a crack of light. Something like a tree falling over.
Which way?
That way.
Alright.
Send your bird up
Perhaps.
quickly.
Do you do that, Decker?
What's that?
You send Aurora out?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
As you cast into Aurora, trying to identify the source of this noise, only about 200 or 300 feet away, as you kind of swoop around and use her dark vision to your advantage, you would see this kind of faint blue energy building up, and then you would see the silhouette of Sir Brandon Campbellton kind of standing near a fallen tree, and you see it kind of build and build before he strikes another tree, another crack of lightning that you can then hear as the tree falls over and hits the ground.
Is he familiar with my owl?
Yeah, I would imagine so. You guys have traveled together for quite some time.
I'll swoop down, glide in front of him to get his attention, swoop another circle around him, and then land in front of him.
He would pause once he sees Aurora until it kind of rests in front of him, and he just stares her down.
And then I'll just hop up on his shoulder.
All right.
Bird hug.
Bird hug.
Are you conveying this to the party, I'm assuming?
Not yet.
Okay. No, he would stand there, kind of still holding his stoic gaze, mostly. Now, pause from his little outburst and just kind of internalizing.
I guess I'll reach out with one of her arms and just kind of pat him on his back as best as you can simulate that,
Okay.
and then come back. Don't think it's anything to be worried about. He's taking out his frustrations on shrubbery.
Who?
Sir Campbellton.
Oh.
He can make lightning happen? That's so cool.
I didn't tell you that. But I would tell you, and yes, it is cool.
Is there anything else the party would do or say before heading back to bed?
Not me.
No.
I might go over and just like watch from a distance to see if he like does anything crazy, and then if he wants to talk, we can talk, but if not, I'll just let him do his thing.
Okay. How far away are you standing, sir?
It'd be like if there was a tree line, like I'd be just in the shade by the tree line, just standing there with my arms crossed.
I will remind you that it is like 9 o'clock, so it's basically like nighttime and dark out, but I kind of get the gist of it.
I can have my nightlight, so
So-
then he'd really notice me.
Yeah, if you head out that way and kind of observe him for a moment, you would, from your distance, see that kind of blue glow building up, and you would quickly like make the connection in your head that the gauntlets that he wears that have this like intricate engravings on them is where he is pulling this source of lightning from, and he like does a hand gesture that's a little bit hard for you to discern from this distance before like a blue energy builds up again and he strikes another tree, and apparently 3 is the number that he is somewhat satisfied with as he lets it flop down, kind of staring at it for a moment. He would eventually turn, spot your light, and then start basically walking directly towards you at this point. You're just gonna wait for him to approach, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
So once he gets within shouting distance of you, you kind of narrow his eyes, directly stomp up to you. What do you want, Thor?
I'm just making sure you don't attract unwanted attention that I'd have to save you from.
Forgive my manners, Thor, but isn't that what this party does, is attract all of the unwanted attention?
I really try not to. But it just seems to happen. I'm just making sure we don't try to get more than necessary. And it's never good to be in the woods alone.
Well, I wouldn't be upset if something got me. And he just kind of walks past you.
I would, though.
Thor, you don't even know me.
But I like you. Should I not be sad that the king is gone, even though I barely knew him?
It is hard to take your sympathies seriously when we are gallivanting in folk doing God's knows what, while the war is ravaging my land and killed my father.
We are trying to stop your war.
Clearly.
But there are other things in this world that are important. I understand they may not be important to you, or you may not see how important they are. But if only you knew the destruction that we have seen when those little things come back together, it wouldn't matter what war we're in. Because then there's only going to be one war. And it's not one we're going to win. So I am doing my best every day to make sure that war doesn't happen.
You see the kind of like two sides of this man fighting each other almost like visibly in front of you. There is the grief and the sadness that he's kind of dealing with, but also the duty and the honor that he kind of upholds and uses for most of his character. He just kind of takes a second and then meets your eyes. In theory, fantastic. But who even knows if we're making any fucking progress? At least if I was murdering those fucking filths to the east, then I could see their blood on my hands and know that I am doing right.
Sorry about your dad. But killing people won't bring him back. Trust me.
Thor, do you know what happens now?
Honestly, no. Not from there. Don't know anything about your rulers.
You see him, like, his whole body kind of tenses before he just releases this kind of torrent on you. Kralin is in shambles. The population, minuscule, which is the sister city to our capital. Our king lay dead. Gods knows what the battle looked like that surrounded that. Now the Pruid Empire is going to bring their full might upon us as our kingdom is fractured and beaten. There is no more Giles. There's no more home to return to. The place that I grew up in and the place that I serve is gone. The people in there will be dead. And there is nothing we can do to stop that.
Oh. The best I can do is try. And if I am to be completely honest with you, I've seen your dad. I doubt he died the way that they say he died. I have a very strong suspicion as to who actually killed him, but I will never be able to prove it.
For what it's worth, Thor, it doesn't matter.
I guess I'll have to disagree with you on that. Killing people for the wrong reason suddenly doesn't make it the right thing to do.
I think I just want to be alone, Thor, and I am... Yeah. And then he just kind of starts walking away.
Crack another tree if you need me.
So, does the party find their way back to sleep at this point?
Yeah.
Alright. So, don't think there's any much more to go over until waking up in the next morning, whatever process you all want to go through there.
Do I get to
I guess
long
my
rest
insight
now?
still wasn't high enough yet.
Say that again?
I guess my insight still wasn't good enough yet.
What was it?
11.
Yeah. A lot of the, that stuff is gonna have to be dealt with out of session to an extent, just due to how much there is of that now currently. So.
I mean, all of our wisdom was pretty low.
Yeah.
We're still in shock.
Takes time. Your souls are still realigning.
Are we? Do I? Just in the normal business of getting ready in the morning, do I encounter Sir Campbellton at any point?
I mean, if you're down in the caravan doing stuff, potentially, but there wouldn't be any, direct interaction with him.
Well, if I see him as I'm going about my business, then I will say something to him.
Okay. You'd probably, we'll say, early in the morning. He is, after the night that he has had, kind of like half asleep, just kind of waiting, leaned up against the wall of the manor, just waiting.
So as I walk by, I am pressed and starched, and I've got all my stuff on. And as I walk by, I stop and I look at him for a moment, and I say, I have been there.
Kind of lift his head, kind of blink a little bit.
After a beat, then I say, if you must depart, I think we all understand.
Lord Valoran, do you know what my father said before I was sent along with you?
Tell me.
He told me, which I strongly disagree with, that Asmiliath as a whole is worth protecting more than whatever slice of the pie Giles currently has. Perhaps if he didn't think that way, then we would not find ourselves being chewed to pieces. But he sent me here to make sure that your quest was seen through, though I have my doubts, and I certainly feel those doubts a bit stronger now. But if it is what my father wanted, who I dearly respect, then I will stay here, even if my soul tells me I should go.
I'll spare you any ill-thought comments of mine, other than to say, I wish I could have known King Hunfor better. I did not appreciate how wise and unselfish the King of Giles was.
I don't think I'm overstating it when I say he was the best man of our age.
All of Asmiliath will feel the loss. And if he, unless he says something else, then I'm, march off.
If you go to take a step, he would, like, catch you and kind of shift his tone a little bit. For what it's worth, Lord Valoran, I do not know the state of our credit line. If the king is fallen, and Giles soon to have that similar fate, then I do not think that our agents will keep receiving payment.
If that is the case, we will make do as we did before. I am grateful for the assistance we received up till now, and we will still have the aid of the King's son.
That you do have.
And I'm off.
All right. As you arrived at the caravan the morning after having your rest, your bathe, and your alcoholic drinks, you would be given a letter from your father with the seal of the Caspians stamped on it from one of the servants at Corsair, saying that the letter had arrived for you while you were gone, and it'd be handed off to you as you are like walking into the caravan.
And who am I with right now?
I mean, you'd probably be with Danica, kind of getting ready for the morning, kind of getting ready to depart Corsair entirely.
Okay. Sister Pierre's father sent a letter.
Well, it appears to be for both of us, so I'll let you read it though.
Son and daughter. I'm assuming that's you and me?
Unless there's a much bigger reveal going on, yes.
I only risk putting my words to paper because an important discovery has been made for our family. This is a matter that I cannot stress the weight of enough, and I say that with full knowledge of the quest you are currently undertaking. I'm unable to provide exact details since I fear that a letter from a Caspian going across the Folkish border will certainly be read. But Decca, I know if I mention a particular crown, you will know what item I speak of. The reason you found yourself holding this particular item instead of the artifact that you sought is clear to me now. My best historians have been working tirelessly to identify what you found, and their discoveries point to a revelation that I cannot fully believe yet. The Caspians are not simply Caspians, we are more. Our blood runs deeper than we could have ever imagined, and with that knowledge, our ambitions will rise higher than we have ever dreamed. I hope you are both well and that your adventures are full of the success that you two deserve. Look out for one another as you always do, and find your way back home as soon as you can. I would like to discuss openly what I could not include in this letter. They will rise highest who strive for the highest place. Your loving father, Alderman Eldred Caspian.
That's all he needed, was another reason to inflate his ego.
Inflago my ego.
It was rather cryptic. I assume that he is referring to the discovery you made around Jarek's passing.
The crown that I almost lost my arm for. Suppose father's as happy as I've ever heard him write a letter.
At least he remembered to wish us well.
Also not normal. He's usually giving us commands.
I wonder how fast we can return to him with all that has happened.
Not as soon as he'd like.
Is this something we should share with the group or keep to ourselves?
See no reason not to share it.
You could be, if my assumptions are correct, more important than Valorant, and that would be fun.
More important, probably never. Better looking, certainly.
Who knows? We might be descended from Gargamel the Mighty and Undefeated. You could rival Thor, the legend.
Already rival Thor. You've watched me fight.
You've watched me fight.
About that, you did really well. Please don't ever do it again.
Yes, I think that my appetite for combat has been filled for quite some time.
Go tell the others.
I would like to see what Valorant thinks. Or at least, if any emotion crosses his face.
Good luck. Watch closely, sister. So, I'll find the rest of the group and reread the letter.
Oh my dog. I knew it. I knew it all along.
That's great. Congratulations. But how does this, help us?
I don't know, but certainly being more important is more beneficial than being less. We've many people to convince yet.
But you don't necessarily know what you are yet. You have to go talk to your dad, which means you have to go back.
Oh, he doesn't.
What?
Get Mr. Wiggles. No, Giggles. I always get that wrong. The
don't
gnome.
think-
The other
Did he
gnome.
meet-
Excuse
he meet-
you?
Get him to message your father. That is completely secure.
I agree.
Well, did they meet?
I imagine they would have. He was part of the caravan at that time.
I feel like a precedent for our party is like basically every important person that we meet, we need Giggles to meet so that we can
Come here.
communicate.
Look at him. Okay.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself now.
At the very least, there's no way that he didn't lay eyes on
Yeah.
Elton. So
I'm fine with that.
And he was also in the swamp too, so
and then we'll know
Probably.
the extent of your leverage before we approach the queen.
Giggles!
Anything else from the party this morning?
Nope,
No,
not for me.
All right. So with the arms secured in a box, caravan informed and ready to go, everything taken care of, is it off to Northwatch Castle then?
We ascend.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
When we hit the road,
I-
I'm gonna talk to Decker at some point soon.
Okay. The trip to Northwatch Castle, going at like a pretty average pace, is probably a week, 6 days if you're pushing it, somewhere in that range.
Can we go fast?
Yes, but there would be some downsides to that.
What do you think, guys? Push a little harder, given recent circumstances?
Doesn't matter to me. You're muted,
You are muted.
James.
A fast pace that avoids exhaustion.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'll probably say is if you are pushing it, it might make being ambushed a little bit easier. It might make the... what's the word I'm looking for? The employees' personalities a bit more sticklier. That's a term. Just kind of would be pushing people to their limits to some extent.
I'm willing to risk it.
I will...
Can, Can I give a rousing speech to maybe help placate those employees' spirits?
Potentially. The other alternative that I will put up is that you all traveling on horseback alone would be much faster than traveling with the caravan, but obviously breaking off from the caravan has its downside as well, so.
Yeah, I don't think we can split up from the Cordan pieces.
Yeah.
So, how about we'll go with 5 days, pushing it with a little bit of pushback from the caravan itself.
fine.
Can I attempt to...
Go ahead. Yes, you can try.
to,
Yes, go for it, sir.
Okay. See what I get and see if I can
Nice.
match that. Okay. So on day like 3 of hard writing, I would...
I want to hear this. I want to see what a 3 persuasion looks like. Rouse me.
All right, look, you've all been doing great. You know, you've pushed yourself to your limits. It's impressive. I'm impressed. I think it's wonderful. I've seen y'all as I look out of the window of the carriage. Look, I know you've had a very hard burden to bear. I can see how much it takes on you. Every time I take a drink, I see your backs slumped. It's terrible. And those guys riding up on top of you are heavy. I know the soldiers are terrible.
Are you talking to the
But look,
horses?
that is exactly who Clay is talking to. But look, it's gonna be worth it. We'll get up to that castle, have sweet oats, really green, tasty hay, and those heavy guys can get off and go do their own thing. So you're great. Keep doing it. Bertrand, I know we need to shave you at some point, but it's great.
As you give your rousing speech, you would see the 2 horses pulling the carriage. One of them looks at the other, and the other one looks back and just gives him like a... Alright.
Well done,
Valor.
I assume they're gonna do their damn jobs, and I wait until there's a problem, and depending on who it is, will color my response.
No, I'm not saying that there's a mutiny, I'm just saying that people are not going to be pleased. So, take that as you will.
The first time that I hear a complaint, I will mention that when we get where we're going, there will be a night in the tavern on the Golden Hearts.
Meaning they pay for themselves, right?
It's on Giles.
It'll come out of our war chest.
But Valor, you said that you wanted to have a conversation with Decker?
That's right. So once we're on the road and we're on our way to Northwatch, I'm going to gather up the Golden Hearts, and we can ride at the head of the caravan a little bit apart from everybody else. And Decker, I wonder if I could ask you to do something for me. Where we're headed at Northwatch, there's a mage by the name of Albin Cahoon. He is a fugitive in folk for reasons that we can get into another time. What is important to me is the last time I saw him, he used his magic to flee. At the least, he is likely to do so again. But he does not know you. As you are quite dexterous and discreet, when we near Northwatch, I would like you to ride ahead, sneak in, and steal the means by which he casts his spells.
And what does that mean? Normally mages are rather self-contained.
Not necessarily. Decker, I myself... I'm sorry, we are all together, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I gathered everybody.
Okay. I myself have to, shake the crystal discs on his wrist, use a focus for most of my spells. There's some minor things I can do without it, but in general, most of us have a focus, or a lot of times, if you can't find a particular item, then you may
I get your
use...
point.
Yeah.
I understand. What is it?
I have no idea.
Do either of us remember seeing him
Give me a
grab
history
something? Both of us, or
Yeah.
No. My job.
go?
Oh, would you? Oh, I'm sorry.
You would remember that he had a staff that he wielded.
And that was the only, like, when he cast spells, he, like,
You could assume, yeah.
it was a staff. I'll just say, like, not even paying attention.
Right. Yes, I mean, my job with the Rangers was to track down fugitives and bring them to justice with some small experience with magic users. Might be a pleasant diversion from my current state of affairs.
Excellent.
Dead
Should-
or alive?
Neither. I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense. I would prefer that he not know. Until we have all arrived, is what I mean. You don't have to do anything to him. Just take away his focus.
So, I'm assuming that after he fled, he didn't go into hiding. He'll be accessible.
He believes himself to be in hiding at Northwatch Keep. But I have received advance word.
I think
Should,
this will be fun. Thank
should
you.
Should we let the, like, the people who are actually watching Northwatch know that there's not some random person just running in after his stuff?
Oh, we will fully inform Sir Lemoyne.
Would you like me to go ahead of you, or
Definitely.
don't suppose riding in as a group would do wonders for my cover?
No, when we get close, I do think that would be best. Also, I would not presume to tell you how to go about this. It is your expertise, after all, but perhaps Mr. Clay, who would also not be recognized, could make good use of his abilities to creep and crawl as well.
I'm sure I can find something.
What did this man do to you that deserved your anger?
At this point, it's not so much about anger for me, but he was a co-conspirator with Count Salamon, who was going to force my sister into marriage after, I believe, murdering his first wife.
Like I said, this will be fun.
Can I clarify something real quick? Sorry. So you want Decker to sneak ahead to get the staff, but you're going to tell Lemoyne that he is sneaking ahead to get the staff?
Yeah. I think.
Why would you not just ask Lemoyne to take the staff? Or assume that he already had already?
Actually,
Because
that's
I wanted to create an adventure opportunity for my party member.
No, I get you. I'm not trying to put problems in your way, but
I mean, technically, when he would tell Lemoyne this plan, Lemoyne would be like, "I could just take it away." So
I'm not saying that this is a bad idea. I'm just saying telling Lemoyne makes the sneaking part redundant.
What would Lemoyne have to say?
I mean, you can tell him, but then the cat's out of the bag at that point. What I'm trying to get across is like the understanding
Lemoyne,
that he. Yeah.
My understanding is that Lemoyne is on the same page as us, which is why he came to tell us that the guy is hiding there. I just don't want the guards at Northwatch to happen to catch Decker and try to kill him before we get there.
If Florent is not working against Northwatch, he's been sent by Northwatch. So if you wanted the staff gone, he could just walk in the door and do that.
I don't want Cahoon to know, if at all possible, that the staff is gone. I want him to go reaching for it and be like, "Oh shit, I haven't prepared for this at all. My pants totally around my ankles."
Okay.
Oh, then just have Lemoyne get Decker in. That might be. That way he doesn't have to sneak in. He would just come in.
Yeah, I didn't really anticipate him having to sneak into the castle, but just go to the castle and then sneak into Cahoon's quarters.
So send Decker with Lemoyne to have.
Yeah, and as far
hey,
as
there's a
Cahoon
guy
knows,
creeping. Oh no, don't worry about him. He's allowed
as
to
far
do
as
that.
Cahoon knows, Decker and Clay are just guests at the castle that have nothing to do with anything. And then the night before the rest of the caravan gets there, he makes like the Tooth Fairy and takes away his mojo.
All right.
Can we ask Lemoyne just
You
as
can
far as
ask Lemoyne anything you want, Clay.
as concerned as far as Cahoon is concerned, is he locked up? Is he?
If inquired about, he would explain that Cahoon thinks that he is with a friend, that he is hiding in the castle of Northwatch with Count Barbet, and that Barbet has acquired the information that he had kept, and is now just being held there with the understanding that Cahoon doesn't know, but Barbet plans on trading him for Valoran's use of Shevlin's eye. So Cahoon's not going anywhere. He thinks he's safe there. Barbet is totally willing to do this. Florent is totally willing to do this. And that is the understanding. And Cahoon's not going to try and do anything because he thinks he's in the one place that he's safe at.
And Valoran wants to make as certain as possible that he's not going to go flying up any chimneys again the next time they run into each other.
True.
Gotcha. If you express that, Florent would tell you that he is not at his full capabilities.
What does that mean?
He would be vague unless questioned further.
Does he not have hands?
What does that mean?
Well, my lord, we would not have him just waltzing around with the ability to leave at any moment.
What,
Be specific,
Yeah, but
Sir Lemoyne.
What does that mean?
is he drugged? Did you drug him?
He has a device on him that prevents him from sneaking away.
Oh, then I'll have to seek my foot elsewhere.
Manacles?
Yeah.
He doesn't think that's unusual for being in hiding at a
It's
safe place.
It's for his own safety because it would prevent anyone from figuring out his location through magical means.
Oh, well.
So we don't need to do that. Check.
I'm sorry, Decker. I thought that would be a nice diversion, but
I appreciate the thought. Sure, something will come up. It always does, it seems. And I am plenty diverted right now.
Maybe you can try to steal my axe, my pickaxe, at some point.
Probably wouldn't be too hard.
Decker says
I
as
find
he
that-
takes it from behind his back.
Yeah.
Right now.
And as a general rule, though, I don't steal from my friends.
You're stealing wrong then. Well, actually, no. I guess Callie wasn't my friend.
Certainly not your best friend.
Very true.
Well then,
Damn,
Sir
stick
Lemoyne,
of dynamite.
So you're assuring us that Cahoon is safely inside a gilded cage.
As far as my information is up to date, yes.
Maybe we can have like a nice dinner with him where we can be like, oh, somebody like Count Barbet wants to have dinner with you. Please come in. And then like, you know, he walks in, he's sitting there, he's all alone, and then he's like, and then we walk in and his eyes go wide and he's like, what the, who the, how the, and then we just interrogate him.
I like it.
It does sound rather dramatic, but I have a question for you all for some time. I understand that Cahoon has to take the fall for what happened at Crow's Crest, that's apparent. But you all seem to have a rather personal vendetta against this man. Why?
I don't know.
Point of clarification, I've never met him, so...
Do we have something personally against him?
In all honesty, I have not fully made up my mind about Mr. Cahoon. I intend to do that the next time that we meet. But as things stand now, he was a co-conspirator with the man who wanted to consume my house and holdings and violate my sister.
Well, if you count anybody that was going along with Lord Solomon, then wouldn't your sister also be a co-conspirator?
No, Sir Lemoyne, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I assume that Cahoon was not doing his task willingly.
I have considered that possibility, and I will find out when we speak to him. As I said, I have not made up my mind. But we're coming to Northwatch anyway, and so we may as well have a conversation.
Also, may I point out, we don't know where Lord Solomon's wife is. Because she's not dead, as far as we know.
That's true, Thor. Good point.
Just, thought we should readdress that at some point, that she's still around somewhere. Although I have no idea what she looks like. Well, maybe I saw a painting of her.
Yeah, you probably would have seen something, yeah.
Yeah.
At a minimum, Mr. Cahoon will fill in the gaps of the story of Salamon and his wife and all his little plots and plans to the extent that he is able.
Also, is there like somebody pursuing the killer of Lord Solomon?
Yes, the Queen has investigators, and there was a whole charade put on for it to try and pin it on Cahoon, which is currently the Queen's fall guy, for lack of a better term.
I see what you did there. But he did also fall.
Yes.
So, like, couldn't it be he just fell out? He wasn't pushed.
He was discovered burnt to death. The story is that Cahoon betrayed him. We should probably get that straight, Thor.
Yeah, we definitely should. I do not remember this, but I'm starting to remember. Did we really
Don't tell
burn
that,
him?
it all came together rather quickly.
Yes, you all stuffed him in the hidden compartment and burned the manor down. Well, on that lovely note, that is where we'll end the session.
What?